Welcome into episode 7 of Stick Drift. How you doing, Randy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. We got the new camera, so now I look as crisp as you do. Not as good, but that's for other reasons that can't be fixed with a camera. Um, I did,
We fix it in
however.
post.
I don't think I can do that either. You texted me about the camera and everything when you got it, and you were like, "Yeah, it has some really cool features, like it has like zoom features with like gestures and shit." So I do have that turned off for the time being because I did find out. Funny enough, if you had it turned on, that would have zoomed in on your face because
Yep.
the sign
I
is
did have it
that.
turned on and I was
Yeah,
testing it and I noticed that and I was like, nope, and turned it off.
yeah. I had it on for a stream, the first stream that we set the camera up for, and I happened to look over to monitor the stream, and it was zoomed in on my face, and I'm like, I don't even know when that happened. I have no idea how long it was there for, so we're not gonna fuck around with that until we know better. But we got the new camera, and we got some cool stuff to talk about.
Mhm.
Um, we're going to be doing our usual spotlight segment to start things off. We have a couple of news things that we wanted to talk about, specifically two game announcements. Um, and our main topic is going to be all about Xbox. What needs to be done, what can be done, what should be done, and I guess what Asha has already been doing. So we're going
Especially
to get
as
into all that.
two people who grew up with Xbox and who stuck with it, regardless of if we should have for longer than
Longer
longer
than
than
we
most
should have.
people.
I had an Xbox One. Enough said.
Yeah, me
That
too.
was that was it.
I'll talk about it more then, but
Yep.
I had originally swapped to PS4 on launch and then none of my friends did and I swapped back and I just never went back to PlayStation. And
I in a similar way, I got a PS4 at launch. Unfortunately, I didn't think about backwards compatibility not being a thing, so I got a PS4 to play PS3 games. So after a couple months when it couldn't play PS3 games, I was like, fuck this. So I sold it and got a PS3 and then went for Xbox One.
yep.
But
But we'll get to
but
more of that in the
yeah,
time to come.
absolutely. So let's hop right into the spotlight segment because Randy, you clearly did a lot of gaming this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Uh
I so like I said in the last episode, I was playing both Tainted Grail and Diablo 4, the expansion. I have beaten both of those and the Tainted Grail DLC that has come out. Um, I guess I'll touch on Tainted Grail first because it's shorter. It stays pretty much as good as I was talking about. The ending is, or I guess I'll say the third act is definitely weaker. There's less there. It's more of like you get to the third area. There's obviously side stuff to do, but it's like, hey, there's a couple of factions, quote unquote, tribes in the area. They can influence the ending if you want, but it also gives you the option of like, if you, let's say you explored fucking acts 1 and 2 to no end, and you just are like, all right, I'm a little burnt. I want the game to end. Pretty much like a couple of quests into Act 3, it's like you can end the game whenever you want, but if you want to get these, like the support of other factions and stuff to influence the ending, you can go do that. So the Act 3 is kind of like as short or as long as you want it to be, uh, which I kind of appreciate. I did go around to everything and do all that stuff. I'll leave out spoilers, but it's very good. I know on launch, Act 3 was apparently broken beyond belief. Like they had to basically, like, people were really annoyed at the ending and like it just felt very rushed because the game was one of those, it's in early access for a while, so the start of the game is very polished, where they were like, all right, this is what people need fixing, this is all this stuff. As you get on to Act 3, it got broken. Like apparently there's a ton of bugs. The ending was, I don't even know if they had other options and stuff like that. It was just like a very quick, like, all right, Act 3 done. uh I know they reworked some of it. I know they fixed a lot of the bugs. I did experience, I want to say, 2 bugs. One of them was pretty big. It didn't make the game unplayable, but one of the quests for one of the factions, basically to end that faction's quest line, it got rid of the quest from my journal entirely. Just at the point, right at the part where it was like, go turn it in. And so like I was like going through it and they like mentioned a guy's name who was important, and I knew his general area and everything, and then it like left, and I was like talking to people on my headset and I was playing through the game, and I was like, oh yeah, let me go like onto one of these other quests because I finished this one. And I didn't realize for like a while after that I never actually finished that quest. So when I went to go like turn everything in near the end, and it was like mentioning like, hey, you never did this, and I was like, yeah, I did. What are you talking about? And then I had
Scrolls
to go
like at
hunt.
its best.
Yeah, then I had to go like hunt down a guy just based on name and like Google where he should relatively be, and like that. Yeah, so like that was a bug. but it wasn't actually broken. It just was not showing up for me. So it was like I could still do it. It didn't.
Right.
I didn't have to like
It
reload a save or anything.
could have been worse.
Could have
And
been
I mean,
worse.
I know I made the joke for Scrolls Like, but the amount of times that things would just disappear on me when I was doing like even the Oblivion remake remaster, it
Yep.
was ridiculous.
Funny enough, I had another bug that it was from an update they just put out, I believe. They added a challenge mode recently where you can like basically continually increase the difficulty of the game. Every like 2 levels, you'll get a new debuff and all this stuff. They just added it like a week ago. They're still adding content to this game for free, which is great. And I had another bug. I had never used the horse throughout this game because for some reason the frame rate of the horse was like 20 FPS compared to everything else where I was getting like 120. And I was like, this looks atrocious. I'd rather just walk around and not be taken out of the game by the horse if I'm just like going faster. And so they fixed the horse, and I guess it was a bug with playing at higher frame rates. The horse wouldn't animate correctly, so it would be very like stuttery, and it felt like you were getting lower frames on only the horse animation. They fixed that, but the other thing was they're like these wooden elevator lever systems that would like lift you up and down. They also had that, and it was like less of a problem because it was like whatever, I won't be on this thing for 3 seconds. They, I think, tried to fix that one as well, but in doing so, I now fall through elevators. So
solid.
Yep. I don't know if that's a recent thing or if I just experienced it on this one elevator as it would happen right as they fixed the other bug that was doing a similar thing. But luckily I had already been to that area that like I think only get to from that elevator, so I could just fast travel back there. But yeah, no, there's still some bugs in Act 3. But overall, I'd still say that game's amazing. The expansion was very good. It was like, I think on sale, I got it for like $9. I think normally it's like 15. Ads probably like if you just do the story, probably 5 hours to the expansion. If you do side stuff and everything, probably up to like 15 hours or something like that. So it's a lot of armor sets. If you want to do another playthrough, it adds a lot of equipment and gear and fun things to mess around with. So definitely worth the price of that.
And for a game that has so much replayability already,
it has a lot
nice.
of replay, especially with the new challenge mode they added, already having New Game Plus in there. Yeah, it has a lot and branching storylines and everything. Yeah, it definitely very replayable. I might do another playthrough. I had a great time with that. As for Diablo 4, I'll touch on that pretty quickly because I wanted to just go over what I said last week of like the big thing was going to be the end game. Because that was the main problem on launch of Diablo 4. And from what I've experienced, it's a lot better. It's so much better. There's a lot more to do now. It's not just the Tree of Whispers where it's like, go do a dungeon, and then you like go turn it in, and then go do the Hell Tides. There's like the Kurast Undercity. There's the War Plans, which involve the Helltide, the dungeons, the Kurast Undercity. There's these layer bosses, which are like much harder bosses. There's the Infernal Horde, which is like kind of a roguelike. You pick modifiers where you'll get more rewards, but get harder waves as you're going through it. There's the Pit, which might have been in there originally. I don't remember, but it's a lot better now. There's a lot more endgame stuff, and the War Plans kind of combine all of it in a path that give you different rewards based on the one you pick, and it randomizes it. Makes it feel like you have something to do instead of just going for higher numbers and replaying the same exact thing over and over again. It feels a lot better. That's really all I had to say about that. Yeah. That's really all I had to say about that. Other than that, Spotlight, I guess I've just been playing a lot of Pokemon Go too. Like now I moved to like August of last year, almost a year ago. I moved to an actual city. Yeah. I moved to like an actual city, and so like there's actually Pokemon Go stuff to do around that I don't have to like specifically get in my car and drive to. And it's just been a lot more fun doing that, and the amount of content they added. I know Niantic in the past couple of like years of owning the game had basically just been prepping the game to sell it. They were adding a lot of microtransaction stuff, but the rewards didn't really feel worth anything you should buy. It was just for the whales who buy a ton of stuff in the games they like regardless. And it was all for the purpose of like, look how much money this game makes for the purpose of selling it.
Look at the revenue.
Look at the revenue, yeah.
Sorry,
my throat's dry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
No, it was now Scopely owns the game. And I will say they have not like decreased the amount of microtransactions, but they have made it the events and everything it feel more worth it to play and to if you're gonna buy something. It doesn't make it feel more. They haven't added like more pay to win stuff or anything. It's just like the rewards are like even if you're doing the free pass, you're guaranteed at least one legendary Pokemon in like the monthly like Go Pass thing uh for playing the game and like actually getting to the higher levels. Even if you're doing the free version, you'll get that. There's the rewards feel more worth it, worth playing the game. The events feel a little better. I will say we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary. I don't know if you realized that. In
That's also insane. Stop reminding me of time.
in July, it'll be the 10-year anniversary of Pokemon Go. And I know you probably know they do the Go Fest every year. This time, the Go Fest will be free for people on certain days of like the worldwide Go Fest. Scopely's actually doing it for, the free thing. There's like the Mewtwo X and Y, which you can actually just they're adding a super mega raid, which like requires 8 people or something like that. And if you do those, even the free like day stuff, you have a chance of getting like the full max level or mega levels for them just in your normal catch. You don't have to like do the grinding to get. Yeah, no, they've been doing some stuff gameplay wise that feel better as a player. Whether they're still selling data or stuff, probably. I know Niantic kept a lot of like their location AR rights to the game. So even though they sold the game and like its operation themselves, like that kind of data is still owned by Niantic. So I don't know if they're going to be trying to add more stuff like that or if they're more focused on the gameplay. But it's been feeling better, I think, than when I've played in previous years. And yeah, I've been actually having like just fun with the game. I open it when I'm out now. Every once in a while, even when I'm home, because like I sit in a really weird location where there's 2 spots kind of just in range of me, not enough to where I could put a lure on them, but I can put a lure on them, but I won't be in range of the spawns, but I can spin it. And you know how like when you're just sitting there in Pokemon Go looking at it, your character sometimes takes a couple steps in either direction. Yep. I will wander between the 2 like Pokestops, so like I could spin them.
Take
so
full
like,
advantage of it.
Yeah, I have been. I've been actually caught up to you in level today, so yeah.
That's crazy. Because like I know, like you were saying, where we lived before, there wasn't a lot very concentrated. You had to drive around or go to another city to do it. Like I remember just going on vacations. Like I remember the summer it came out. I went to Disney World, and it was crazy the difference between like the first 2 weeks at home with how the Pokestops and gyms were kind of located, and then going to Disney World and seeing everything that was there. And it's like, okay, when you're in a hotbed, this is worth it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
It's not like my area is even like too crazy. I don't even know if you'd be able to see it if I open the game right now.
Just show us all your personal data.
Yeah. But like this street specifically, like right near me, you could probably not see because the light is on this. Never mind then. But there's like around me, there's a bunch of stops. There's some raids and stuff. If I do some walking, if I'm going anywhere, I have stuff to do in the game, which is great. But yeah, no, there's actually like I saw. I don't know if you used the campfire app at all when you played.
No.
I don't know if it was out even then, but
no.
It's basically like a social media for Pokemon Go app, but also there's like groups and stuff on there, and you could join them, and they could post when they're doing events. So it's like, hey, we're all going to be gathering for this raid day and stuff, and you could just show up to that. Then it's much easier to find people to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also like if you were somebody who like uses remote raids, which I do every once in a while. Yeah, I pay for them, but it's not a regular thing. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll get like a remote raid pass or something and do a couple of them, and you could just browse for them remote raids through that app. You could just click like find like join a raid, and you can go find someone, catch something. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, yeah, I wish it was integrated into the game itself, but
yeah, that's a Rune Light kind of deal. Like, damn,
well, it's official.
Oh, it is official.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not integrated into the game. It's an official app, Campfire, that you can. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it should just be in the game.
Close enough, I guess. At least I have it. But
yeah, and like it's weird too because it has like it's integrated enough to the game to where like if you're on like just the game itself, there's like a browse campfire button when you're like trying to find like if you're looking at like the raid list and stuff. So it'll take you to that app to like find like another raid or something. But like,
who made the app? Is it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a Scopely deal, like if it was Niantic, or if it is
I
just like
think it
some
was
kind of.
Niantic. I think it was already in before. I might be
That is
wrong about
so
that, but
weird.
I think it was already in there.
Yeah, it's
See if it
been a
just
while
says when I
since
open it.
it's been a while since I had played Pokemon Go. Like the most I would do it is if like I go on vacation now, and like my and sister's fiance would be playing it. Um, cousin's husband's brother was really into it, so
Hmm.
he would stay with us and be like, "Hey man, I got this raid." Like I remember being at a show once, and he invited me to a raid, and I'm like, I don't think I can do this right now. And he brought it up, and I'm like, I'm surprised that you even invited me. We haven't
Yeah.
spoken about this in a year and a half. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, with the remote
Uh,
raid stuff, like it was really cool because it was really cool for people like us in the locations that we were at because it was
Especially
able
at the
to.
time, because during COVID when they gave out like free remote raid passes.
Yeah,
Yeah, wish they still
so
did that.
yeah, 100%.
But I'm also very excited for tomorrow. We're doing like a board game night with some friends we recently met here, and they play Pokemon Go, and they have a Kangaskhan, which is the last Pokemon I need for
That's
to
funny.
complete my Kanto decks.
Hey, as long
And
as
they
you're
said they
getting
would
one
trade me in.
finally.
So yeah, but
I
yeah,
don't
that's
know
pretty much
how.
all of my spotlight stuff. If anybody here listening wants to add me on Pokemon Go, uh, leave your friend code somewhere, comments, Discord, something like that. I'll add you.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I don't have a lot to talk about in my spotlight segment. It's been a bit of a slow week in terms of what I've been doing, but I did finish one game, and it's one that I want to touch on briefly because I would love to do an official review on the channel, whether it's next week or something like that. You know, we're still kind of in the early stages of figuring out how to do reviews and what we should do with them. Um, but I finished Pragmata, however you pronounce it. I don't like Pragmata, but I know the word is pragmatic,
You
so
don't like the name, like the name of the game or
no, no,
the
the
word?
pronunciation of it.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Because I started with Pragmata, which I think is just wrong, but
That's what I was saying too. So at
it's
least we're
kind of like
wrong together.
it's kind of like Arceus, and then you find out it's Arceus, and you're just like, I'm not doing that.
Fuck you,
Like,
it's not.
I'm not doing it. So, but playing this game. So, Randy, you haven't touched this game. Do you have interest in it at all? Like, is this something that
Not
you would
really,
pick up?
no.
Okay. Um, what I'll say, very very baseline, because like I said, I really want to do a more in depth review of this, but this game was so goddamn fun. This was one of the best gameplay games I'd ever played. Probably. I love the feeling of the guns and hacking, and the way that you can change your builds is insane. I played through this game twice. I did the regular playthrough and then the post game stuff, and then I went through it again on the hardest difficulty. And the first time I went through it, I was mostly hacking each enemy to open up a weak point and then blasting it with whatever weapons I was using. Um, it wasn't until the lunatic playthrough, which is the hardest difficulty, that I realized, like, damn, unless I have my guns really leveled up right in the beginning, I'm not going to be doing much damage with them. So I kind of shifted my focus into a hacking build as opposed to the gun build, and it's just insane the different levels of combinations that you can make to make different builds viable. Because right off the bat, I was seeing videos of like, hey, here's the final boss on the hardest difficulty in 50 seconds without getting hurt, but also without firing my gun. And I'm like, what? And it's insane to see that build and how it works. Building into trying to get their heat gauge fully up really quick so that they go down and you can get a critical shot in. Having a mod equipped that any critical damage that you deal to an enemy spreads to other enemies of 30%. And it's like just the build combinations that you can make that make this game broken, viable in different ways. Every gun felt good, and that's not how I play most games. Like I talked about this with JRPGs and anything. Like I find what works for me, and I kind of stick to that. Whether it's a party formation, whatever the case may be. So I don't usually experiment with different guns, but every time I found a gun on the floor, I'm like, I know exactly what I could be doing with that, when it will be helpful, and I'm going to use every one of them. And it was so cool.
So kind of like a High on Life 2 thing you were saying.
Yeah, yeah, very like another game that I played this year that just felt really good in the gun gameplay.
Maybe you're
So I'm
becoming more
either
of a shooter fan too.
I was gonna say I wonder which it is which it is more so Am I just starting to like shooters more that are more narrative based, or maybe I just got better? That could easily be the possibility. But Pragmata is being talked highly about. I don't remember the number that it's sold, but I'm pretty sure it's sold over 2 million copies already for a
Yeah, I
brand
heard it
new
was
IP.
doing. I heard it was doing really well. It just didn't seem like. So it looked very Dead Space, and I was never like a big Dead Space person. I just haven't really played them. It didn't really seem like my kind of thing.
Hmm.
Not that I don't have anything against the game. I don't think it's bad or anything. I just haven't really tried it. Didn't
Hmm.
wasn't really interested.
Yeah.
It was that, and then I didn't really like the whole like carrying a little girl around thing. I'm sure it makes sense narratively, but like gameplay wise, I don't like having somebody just even follow me in most games. I don't like having something else, especially if it's like a pet or like a child or something like that, where it's like I feel bad if they even if they can't actually get hurt in the game, I feel bad, so I don't want them
I,
there.
I get that. I'll
uh,
put it this way,
yeah,
because like I said, I'm not going to get too much into it because I wanted to do the review, but I'll tell you what our friend Brian said because we hung out last week and I was playing this when he got here and he was like, "Oh, this looks really cool." And then Diana would say something and he'd be like, "So what's up with the girl?" And I'm like, "It's not really worth explaining here. Just don't focus on that." But then they'd have a whole cutscene of her making a drawing and showing it to you, and it's just, and he's like, "How do I not look at this?" And I'm like, it's not, I mean, it's very narrative driven for that. And he was like, it seems like Capcom had a full game that they were done with and were like, all right, ready to ship. And then Mr. Capcom's son, who works at the company because he's the son of Mr. Capcom, is like, what if we add in a little girl in a blue jacket? And Mr. Capcom is like, that's a fantastic idea. And everyone's like,
good job,
I,
son.
I don't know, we're kind of done already. We have this whole thing built out. And they're like, no, you can get it in. Not that she's shoehorned in because she like narratively speaking, it's
Yeah, it makes
very
sense. I'm
important.
assuming. Yeah,
But it's just like even though we have all of that, we don't need the scenes where she's like, "What's that over there?" And you walk over to and you're like, That's a basketball hoop." And she's like, "Basketball?" And I'm like, and then you take it
yeah.
back to the shelter and like every once in a while while you're busy upgrading all of your gear, you'll see her in the background dropping the basketball and then running after it and you're like, I this hit for some people in saying like I love the parental feeling of this game, and then but I'm over here. Maybe it's because I'm not a parent, or maybe it's other reasons. But I just look at that. It feels like how Final Fantasy 15 feels to me. I see how the relationship can get fostered, but unless there's better dialogue and it's done better, I'm not here for it.
That's fair.
So
Yeah, I saw a lot of people calling the game Dad Space. So
oh, that's incredible. That's such a good name for it. Oh man. So
yeah,
I
and
definitely want to go for it.
so my other thing with the game that it was like kind of putting me off, and nothing really on the game itself. I saw specifically like one tweet that I'm sure you also saw going around where the guy was complaining that like from like the play test of the game, they had like just completely removed everything under the child's like jacket, and it was just like
Oh
a
no, I didn't see
blur.
that.
And like there was like a guy complaining about like censorship and stuff, and it's like, no, you're a pedophile. And
That's
I was like, this
crazy.
is what the fan base of this game's gonna draw to it, isn't it? And
I
it
will.
wasn't against the game itself because I know they weren't trying to do that kind of thing,
Right.
but people are fucking gross, and
Yeah.
it just made me
I
go
mean,
like, ugh,
comes with the territory of having a
yeah.
child in your game, I guess, which is ridiculous. I know one. So I didn't see anything about that, and even having done 2 playthroughs and played it for probably close to 20, 30 hours, somewhere in between there, I didn't notice that once. But the one post that I did see, which I thought was ridiculous, because again, after playing this game for almost 30 hours, I'm not noticing this. They were like, I don't like that the child doesn't have childlike facial features. They seem too adult. Are they trying to make her look good? And I'm like, uh-oh, buddy.
That's one that's
Uh-oh.
weird. That's a
But like,
weird because like it's a weird thing to say,
yes,
but also
outright.
like it is because I did see pictures of it, and it's like she
Yes.
does kind of look like an adult. So I wonder which way they were going with that, where it was like, oh, would it be weirder if she looked like more like a kid, or would it be weirder if, and they just picked one?
Yeah, and like there's certain narrative things that I'm not gonna that don't explain it because again, I still don't fully know why, but it's definitely an in between where it's like I know what they were trying to do for it narratively, but we're still here anyway.
You're treading weird
So,
ground by doing this in the first place, I guess.
and I get
I
like the
don't even know if you're
frustrating thing
really
is
doing that. I don't know if you are.
It's like the frustrating thing is like I don't think that they are treading weird ground. I think it's
Yeah, I
only
don't think
weird
they
ground
are.
because there are weird people.
That's
You
because
know?
well, my thing with it is like I think the style of the game lends itself to that because when you make it, it's because it's vaguely anime, right? Like it does have like more of like a different style to it. But when
Okay.
you do something like at least in like a Japanese kind of art style like that you see in anime, it's hard to like discern age already, and people sexualize anime characters all the time. So when you do that kind
That's
of
true.
art style, you're kind of like
Opening
no,
yourself
I
up
wouldn't
to
say
it.
like you're opening yourself up to it. Maybe not intentionally, but it's one of those where it's like, hey, other characters in other media look exactly like this, and people sexualize them because that character is 3,000 years old or something. And
It's true.
yeah, and so it's like you're designing a character in a way that it can be done too. Like
Yeah.
the gross people can take that and do what they want with it.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm sure it wasn't an intention, but yeah,
Right.
it's the internet sucks. People suck.
Yeah. So to sum it up, don't be a creep and enjoy the gunplay and hacking because
Yeah.
in terms of gameplay, this was so cool. Enemy designs were so much fun to go through. The different environments were great. And like I said, if you're going for a straight shot for the story, I feel like it's hitting the sweet spot of how long the game was. I like even going back and collecting all of the collectibles, doing the post game, doing all the training simulator stuff with complications for some of the later fights. I think I had 14 and a half hours on my file by the end of it. So if you're just doing story and just playing it casually, just picking up what you pick up and not going through every like you'll have this game done under 10 hours.
Yeah, kind
So
of like a Space Marine too.
that's you know what? That's going to be one that I hit soon too. Me and Nick are going to be jumping into that.
If you want to, like, I'll play that with you. I love that game. That was
You got it.
short, sweet. It reminded me like Xbox 360 days. Like it was short and sweet, and I loved playing it. It had some extra modes if you want to keep going. If you have some co-op to do something like that, but like it didn't overstay its welcome, and I appreciate when games do that.
Hell yeah. We'll talk about more about the Xbox 360 feels and what we need to do to get back to it. But we're going to get into something else really quick. Again, hopefully not too long because we're already at 27 minutes, but this is how it goes, Randy. We just love talking
Mm-hmm.
about this shit. We had a couple of news stuff that I wanted to talk about, mostly one game announcement and one direct that was shown. But I want to start with the Star Fox trailer. Randy, I texted you earlier today. Did you get a chance to watch the Star Fox one?
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole direct, but I watched the trailer.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Like,
Okay.
thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's start at that. Just simple thumbs
going
up, thumbs.
here. Go here.
Okay. Okay.
Here.
I would probably go more
Diagonal.
towards here if we're doing it that way, but let me hear
Okay.
why.
I'm gonna go
let's
with
discuss.
okay because I have not played Star Fox 64.
I'm in the same boat.
So this looks dated, like
Hmm.
not graphically. Obviously, it looks pretty good as a remake, but gameplay wise, it looks dated. But and as I understand it, that I don't know if the challenge mode was in originally, but that online PvP battle mode wasn't. So I appreciate that they're adding new stuff, and for the people who played the game originally and are excited about that, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And I know digitally it has a price tag of $50, so it's like it's
The
not
challenge mode.
necessarily
The challenge mode is new.
is new.
So
Okay,
they
so
did
yeah,
add some stuff. Yep.
they added that in the online like PvP mode, the battle mode, I think they called it.
Mhm.
So they added a bunch. It looks like some content for replayability and for like just long term viability of the game, like stuff to do. And then it's cheaper than like a normal game. I really don't have anything bad to say other than like I don't think it will hold up necessarily to modern standards as somebody who's never played it. It doesn't look like it will. But yeah, no, I would like for what it is, it looks good.
Yeah, it definitely looks fun. I think where I'm going with the like more towards the thumb down spot isn't necessarily that it looks bad by it. Well, I think visually the characters look bad.
They look weird. I won't say
Uh,
bad, but I'll say weird.
You
Yeah.
know, I did see like right after the direct, I did see one post, and I have to I have to repeat it here because it was so good. And it's like I've never been a furry, but that is the most unfuckable that Fox has ever looked. And there's just something about him. And it's funny because I saw the direct late last night, and then I watched Kinda Funny's reaction to it today. Because I did the same thing. I watched the trailer and then just watched their whole thing to the direct and what was new and everything. And within seconds of Fox being shown on the screen, one of them made the comment, "Man, that is just a straight up taxidermied fox. Like they
Yeah.
didn't try and make
Wow.
this a
You know,
character."
oh my god. It looks
Oh,
like
it just
he looks like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I don't know that. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Fantastic
I
Mr.
hate that I just
Fox.
made that connection.
Hold on. Hang on Oh dear God. That's just Fox McCloud. Now. That's insane. So yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But
Yeah.
where I'm really coming from, because again, for all the reasons you said, like it's going to be it's I don't know why it's a remake again, because not for nothing, this game has probably been remade more than Skyrim's been released. That that's a
That's not
little
possible.
that's
That's
a
on
little
the
extra.
Alexa in a fridge.
But apparently, I didn't even know this. The Star Fox 64 game was a remake of the
Oh yeah, I
NES
didn't know
Star
that
Fox
either.
game. So technically, Star Fox has had like 9 releases, and
That's
seven
a
of them
weird
are
one
one of
because
them.
like the NES, there's no way it was 3D. So at that point, it's basically an
Right. That
entirely
that
different game.
right. That one definitely brought some new features. But then I believe they remade it for the 3DS as well at some point.
Yes, yeah, they
So
totally did. Yeah,
so this is like at the very least, this is the second iteration, the second remake of Star Fox
yeah.
64 that was also a remake, kind of, that's coming out. I think where I lie on it, and it's not coming from a Star Fox fan, but I don't think it needs to be for this conversation. We were talking about it on a previous episode with them putting Fox into the Super Mario Galaxy 2 movie. That it's been, I think, 10 years since we had a Star Fox game, if not 10, maybe like 8 if it hasn't been 10. But it's,
Are you counting the 3DS one?
I believe so, yes.
I'll look it up right now while you're talking.
Yeah. So it's been a long time at the very least since we've had a Star Fox game. And this was like the Super Mario Galaxy 2 movie is their way of reintroducing characters from either dormant franchises that they've had or franchises that just want to make a comeback that they haven't done stuff with in a while. It's getting it out to a new audience because a lot of the people that are going to see the Super Mario Galaxy 2 movie are children, potentially children the ages that weren't even born when the last Star Fox game was out. Like that
Yeah.
could be a possibility.
So I'm seeing the last ones were Star Fox Guard, which was a spin-off, which released at the same year or coinciding with the release of Star Fox Zero, which was another like mainline game. Both of them 2016. So 10 years.
That's crazy. So it's been 10 years since we had a Star Fox game. So
Yeah.
here's where I bring in the thumbs down position. This was your one chance. Like, this is your one chance to reinvent Star Fox, to give it what it should be. And granted, there's going to be a whole new audience playing this game that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, is what a lot of people consider to be the only, like, amazing Star Fox game. Everything else is just like, yeah, that was okay, that was more Star Fox 64. So they're kind of cutting out all the crap and just being like, well, if everyone's just going to say it's more Star Fox 64, why don't we just do Star Fox 64? But is that the reinvention that you want to give it?
So what I think this would be is more in the lines of testing the waters of how this game could do, how this franchise could do in the future. It's lower
Okay.
risk because it's a remake, so you're gonna have people buying it just based on that in the first place. And then if people end up loving it, hey, we could now release more Star Fox that we have another franchise to continue on in the future.
I see your point.
And I'll probably be buying it for a dumb reason. Maybe not
There.
on launch exactly. For my love of Kid Icarus.
You want to
Because
support so that they bring some other stuff back?
not just that, but
Okay.
as Kid Icarus Uprising was originally supposed to be a Star Fox game, the first half of every
Oh.
level is an on-rail shooter. And if a similar type thing succeeds,
well.
they might look at it and go, hey, Kid Icarus Uprising, we could
Sure.
bring that back too. At least give
Sure.
us a port or something.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that like Star Fox isn't talked highly about. So this is really one of those situations
Not
where
recently, yeah.
and $50. $50
It's a lot,
for
but I think
a
with the new
remake.
content,
Do you
I don't
know
know how long
long
the game is.
you don't know how long the game is?
No.
I'm gonna look it up on how long to be because again, I listen to a lot of the kind of funny stuff, and they were talking a lot about this kind of stuff, and I don't know for sure. But what does how long to beat say? Yeah, Randy, on average, this game is 2 hours long.
Ooh, yeah.
You are paying like 50. Granted, there is extra content, but the extra content is, would you like to do that same exact thing again, but have to hit a higher score? It's one of those things like, don't get me wrong, I think every game deserves come out in this sense. Like, just because of what it is doesn't mean it shouldn't come out. However, it is a situation of, exactly like you were saying, does an on the rails shooter game really have that much of a place to make an impact in 2026? Especially when, for a company that constantly innovates and constantly tries to do new things, are trying to reinvent this character with more of the same. It feels weird to me. Like I
Yeah,
do.
that's why I think it's not really like a reinvention. I think it's supposed to be like a test the waters, see how well this does.
And so here's my question then: do you think the waters will last? Like I feel like the test. I feel like the height of this test is, yeah, maybe we can do another one. And I feel like the low point is, holy shit, people don't care. We got to strip this
Well,
franchise. We're
so
not doing more.
I think the height would be if so obviously you're gonna have like some initial based on how well let's just say they nail the remake. Let's say it's what people want in a remake of this game, right?
Okay.
If that's the case, the height is going to be that everybody who was already going to buy it because it was a remake of a game they loved uh, buys it, and then
Mhm.
other people hear that it's really good regardless of it being a remake, and it isn't just nostalgia, and they buy it as well. If it has more sales than just the people who used to like Star Fox, I think that would be the height.
Okay.
If
That's
it
fair.
if it exceeds that, with it being as short as you're saying it is, and if they like, I haven't watched the whole direct, so I don't know if I missed something or anything like that. But if the game is literally 2 hours to beat, and then the challenge mode is the challenge mode, that's gonna speed people who speed run that game and everything. They're gonna love that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But if the game's good, that'll be good. But if
Yep.
the battle mode feels like shoehorned in, it's just like you shoot some things and you're like, I played 3 matches, I don't really want to do more of it. That's probably it's not gonna last.
Yeah, I think that's my concern. So exactly like you're saying, like this game, it feels more like. But you know what? Here's the one point I want to make with that, as opposed to like, because I use the word reinvention, and you're like, that doesn't feel like what it is. They're calling it Star Fox, like not remake, not anything like this. This feels like almost a rebranding of what this should be in their eyes. I agree with you and everything that you're saying because it sounds way more like anything
Yeah,
else, but like I just feel like this is, regardless of how you look at it, this is a missed opportunity that they could have taken to just do something new instead of remaking it at all.
my only thing with that, with the name of it,
Mhm.
would be the one they're remaking is called Star Fox 64. So if you call it Star Fox 64 remake, it brings to mind images of the N64 graphics.
What did they call? Well, it's still a remake though.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like for marketing purposes, if you were to say Star Fox 64 remake, what's the first thing that comes to your head? What Star Fox 64 looked like, right?
Yeah, that's
If you
fair.
say Star Fox, what are you thinking? It could be anything.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, and it's one of those things. There was a Star Fox 2.
Yeah, it was like canceled originally and then it got made somehow. Anyway, I don't know. One thing I want to touch on really quick that I find interesting.
Mhm.
Uh, Kid Icarus Uprising, originally supposed to be a Star Fox game, like I said. It had a PvP mode that was incredibly fun. Very like Smash Bros esque, honestly, with the way you smash people out of the arena and stuff, and like power ups that would drop. But it was 3D. It wasn't like a 2D thing. Very, very fun. Regardless of that, it was supposed to be a Star Fox originally. Then they made it Kid Icarus. They added this PvP mode and everything. This remake, they're now adding a 4v4 PvP mode too, like Kid Icarus had. I don't know if like the Wii U version, Star Fox Zero, had PvP at all,
Okay,
which
yeah, I
I
don't know.
might want to look up right now. But if it didn't, I find that incredibly interesting. Of like, it would kind of be like Kid Icarus is taking from Star Fox, and then Star Fox is in turn taking from Kid Icarus. Two series that are very much not the same thing, but now
Right.
kind of are trading with
Kind
each
of.
other.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, and it would make me think like they kind of understand that people liked the things that people liked about Kid Icarus and are using it in a Star Fox game.
yeah. I mean, it could be. So I do wonder where it's all going to land. I also like again. I think the $50 price tag hurts this so much. You're like, I
Yeah,
mean, we are talking about the company that did push for the first $80 game that is universally agreed that Mario Kart World is not worth $80. So what is potentially a 2-hour campaign where they have challenge modes where you can redo those 2-hour campaigns with multiplayer that got added in. That, like you said, it feels like people might play 2 to 3 matches and then get tired of it and then put it down. You're going to be spending $50 on a remade game that's been remade 3 times already. $50? Like, this shouldn't have been more than 40. And again, I don't know how much it's going to impact most people that want to play it anyway, but I do think that's going to impact a lot of people who are deciding that, like, oh yeah, I'll give it a shot and jump into it, especially when Star Fox 64, which is virtually the same game without the graphics and the challenge mode and that stuff, is available on NSO.
I need to correct myself a little bit because I was Googling. Star Fox 64 did originally have a split screen sort of PvP mode.
Okay.
This looks more fleshed out than that, but yeah.
Right, that makes sense.
No other one has had that other than Star Fox Guard, which had a sort of thing where you could upload like a kind of like the Drivatars in Forza.
I never did that stuff.
Okay, well, it wasn't something you had to really do. It was really just like the way that you were playing and stuff. Your friends would like see when they were driving around, like an AI version of like how you would drive, that kind of thing.
Sense.
Star Fox Guard had something like that where it was like you could manually upload like how you were doing something and players could compete against that.
Interesting. But yeah. Huh. So, I mean, we'll see where this lands. It's coming out on June 25th, I believe, is the remake's release date. Like I said, it's coming out for $50 digital. I don't know if they've confirmed the $60 physical, but I know that they are trying to push through with Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is one game that they're definitely trying to push through with the altered pricing, saying that digital is a little bit cheaper than the physical. So
this would make sense to me if it, with $60 being like the physical one, that just feels like something they would do. Yeah, and I would appreciate them doing that rather than 60 for digital, 70 for physical. But you know,
absolutely, should be 40.
It does feel high for a game if they don't change the story at all, and it's as long as the original of 2 hours.
They did show one thing, and it really depends on where they go with it. They showed like a little bit of a prequel kind of thing in the trailer. I don't know if it was in the trailer or the direct, so it may not have been something you saw, but it was like, first off, shout out, I did not know that Fox McCloud's dad's name was James McCloud, but there's like a whole prequel section where James McCloud is like flying with Peppy, I think is the rabbit's name. I don't know the names too well, but I'm pretty sure it's Peppy. It's something like that.
And he's flying.
That's Slippy.
Oh yeah,
that one I know.
I don't know the names too well, and man, just fucking do a barrel roll. Like
that's pretty much all I know.
Yeah.
But they put like a little prequel cutscene, and it shows how I don't know if he died, but he was betrayed by someone in his crew. So they show like they flesh out a little bit more backstory and character information. Again, I don't know to what extent it was in the original versus what they're doing with the remake, so maybe there's a little bit more, but like at most you're probably getting 30 minutes of extra stuff. Like I can't imagine these characters are being fleshed out that much more. But if they are, at least that would be another pro to what they're doing this for. So
yeah,
hope it does well. I'm skeptical though. That's where
I hope it does well, but yeah, I don't know, you opening my eyes to the length of the game. On one hand, like how long do you really want to be playing a non-rail shooter before it gets repetitive?
I was gonna say that might be the perfect length for what it is.
Yeah. But regardless of that might be a fun 2-3 hours. I don't know if I'd be able to justify $50 for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine I'd have like that much fun with the multiplayer. I might be like, oh yeah, okay, maybe every once in a while I'll play a game, but like I don't think I would ever hit 50 hours worth of time in that. So
right, and I think there's a lot of people like you, but here's hoping the Star Fox fans crawl out from the floorboards and scream to the skies for this, because I think a lot of people would like to see more Star Fox, and I know a lot of people are disappointed that this isn't the new thing, but
yeah,
hopefully it leads to it.
Hopefully. If
but I want to talk about.
You want to transition into the Xbox stuff now?
Dude, I want to talk about Stranger Than Heaven really quick.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, as long as you're still cool with it.
Yeah, of course. I don't know anything about this.
Okay, I want to start off with, I know I'm an RGG freak. I know I talk about Yakuza. I know I'm a big Yakuza fan. Randy, this is so easily going to be my game of the year for next year. So easily. I don't know what could come out next year that I would think would be higher. So, for those of you that aren't aware, Stranger Than Heaven is RGG Studios, their new title. Um, and it was being talked about as covering 5 cities in 5 different eras through time. It's spanning 50 years, and you basically get like 10-year differences each time. So you're playing in one city, 1915, 25, 35, 45. I definitely did math wrong because it ends in 65. I'll figure that out later. But um, this all leads to, like, if you watch this direct, it starts off by talking about the formation of the Tojo clan, which is the main Yakuza faction in the Yakuza games. So this ending in 1965 and Yakuza 0 starting in 1995 still leaves that 30-year gap. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to get to meet a lot of characters that never really got introduced, because by the time we got to Yakuza 0, the third chairman of the Tojo clan was there. I think the second, I don't know if we met the second chairman, but we see the third chairman get instated and everything. And so it's going to be really cool to see that kind of background. What makes this game stand out to me, first off, obviously the graphics look incredible now. That's just what they're doing. Combat looks incredible. I'll get to that more in a second. The music is insane. They did confirm some guest appearances. Yakuza's been doing a lot of celebrity appearances in their games. Whether in Infinite Wealth, they had like some Japanese singers be in the game. They had Danny Trejo in Infinite Wealth as well. He was one of the antagonists. Samoa Joe, the WWE wrestler, was an antagonist in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. And we have gotten official confirmation who the big celebrity guest of this game is, and it's fucking Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg plays Orpheus for some fucking reason, and he is. I'm not even going to get into it too much. If you want to dig further in, watch the direct, but it's fucking ridiculous.
I'm looking at the game on Steam right now, and I am interested and wonder, as somebody who hasn't played Yakuza, I don't know if you'd be able to tell me this yet, if they've said anything about this. Is this something that you could play without knowing anything about? Because I know it's a prequel, but is it one
Absolutely.
that is more like...
Yeah, it is totally disconnected.
Okay.
Like this is definitely, at least from what we've seen of the direct and what they're talking about with the story, it is totally disconnected. You can absolutely jump into this not knowing anything about Yakuza. Like I said,
what
the
I
ending
mean
of this
though is more, I'm wondering, because obviously like it's a prequel, so it's most of it's going to be disconnected. But what I'm wondering is like, and I guess we'll have to wait for release for this, but will there be a lot of things that are like callbacks to like this would hit more if it was like a realization from something in the future, if you like this leads to this kind of thing?
I would guess so. Like obviously with what you're saying, until we have the full release, I can't say for sure, but I would guess not. I truly believe that this is a game you can play without knowing anything like that. I feel like the big realization and something that's going to happen is how the Tojo clan gets formed. So if anything, there might be like a heavy hitting ending moment like that. Again, that's just what I'm thinking, but totally separated. It's taking place in completely different cities. You play as Makoto Daito, I believe his name was, and the idea of him is he lives in San Francisco to a Japanese mother to an American father. The American father passes away abruptly, so he's stuck in San Francisco. Neither of them speak English. It goes very deep into the prejudice and the struggles that they would face in this situation. Due to the exhaustion and everything else, his mother then passes away. So he's in San Francisco not knowing what to do. So he jumps ship and tries to sneak into Japan to get to his home country. And that's when he meets Snoop Dogg for some fucking reason. They do show that off. It's fucking awesome. Snoop Dogg's son is also in the game. They didn't talk about his character, and they specifically said it's because we're not allowed to reveal that yet. Also, shout out to fucking Snoop Dogg, because you're in a direct, a partner direct, where it's just Japanese developers of RGG Studios talking about this game, what they've loved to do, the things that they're doing, and then in a dimly lit room in his usual attire with his fucking dark ass sunglasses in a room that's barely lit, starting to talk about things. And I'm like, I know you can't see shit. It's so ridiculous, but I love it. But There are some really cool aspects. The combat. So one thing about Yakuza games is I love the turn-based combat of Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth that they did. I'm not as big of a fan of the beat 'em up style as the older Yakuza games because a lot of times it is just button mash to hell, dodge when you can, grapple, whatever. The combat in this game, they explained it. So it was an Xbox Direct, so they were talking about the Xbox controller. Every one of your limbs is a different button. So RB controls your right hand, RT is your right leg, and stuff like that. And it showed off like so many of the cool combinations where it's like you can guard with your right hand if someone's coming in and sucker punch someone with your left hand. If you're holding them in a grapple and you click both of the bumpers, you can use your hands to smash them together, kind of thing. Like it looks like it's way
That's
more.
interesting.
Yeah, it's very different. I can't think of a combat system that's been like that before that kind of gives you that much freedom.
Oh,
But
I know one. Octodad.
that's funny enough. Octodad was the one that I came up with, and I'm like, you know what? Someone there was playing it recently.
Yeah.
But so the combat looks so cool. At least, at the very least, more fleshed out than the other games have been, in my opinion. So it seems interesting, and I'm really psyched to get hands on with that kind of system and see how it does. But even outside of all of those other aspects, a huge part of what this game is about Makoto's life as a showman. Like he has a lot of talent with music. So as you're going throughout the game, they didn't say which button. Not that it matters too much, but you hit a certain button, and if there's a sound going on, your character will start to snap to it, kind of like one of these things, and he'll learn the sound and try and incorporate it into some of his music. So like sounds like a train going by, or the sound a guy's head makes when you smash him in the head with a sledgehammer, or when you curb stomp him, like a cat scratching on a post, like different things like that around the world. You compose your own songs, and with these songs, you have a business management mini game of you running a nightclub, where you're also going around the game hiring different musicians to work at this nightclub, and you create different songs and stuff for them to perform, and that's a big part of the business of this game. So many different aspects coming in, and some people looked at it and they were like, that seems a little disjointed from the rest of it, which understandable.
It's Yakuza.
Yeah, they always have disjointed stuff. I mean, Like
Yeah.
a Dragon had like the actual business mini game where you got into real estate and you started doing that. Infinite Wealth had like an island sim mini game. Both Zero and Kiwami 2 had like a hostess, like cabaret club mini game that you were managing, that kind of stuff. So they always do something like that, and I think this is really cool and on brand for what they're doing in the game. There's so many singers. I mean, the at the very least, I at the end of this, if you have not seen the trailer, check it out. And Randy,
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna.
want you to check it out because the theme song is unbelievable. It's Snoop Dogg with Tori Kelly. Tori Kelly, I didn't know who she is. I actually still don't. I did not look her up beforehand, but I think she was from American Idol, so she's like a singer of that caliber. So it's Snoop Dogg, it's Tori Kelly, it's Otto, who I think is it. God, I have to look that up really quick because I think it's just spelled ADO, and I think she's a Japanese singer. Yeah, a Japanese singer who's
Wait,
pretty
how do you spell the name?
ADO.
She did one of the songs from One Piece film Red.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
Yes.
I listen to it
So
regularly.
that's so cool. So yeah, Otto, Snoop Dogg, and Tori Kelly all collaborated on the theme song "Stranger Than Heaven," and I don't know if it's on Spotify yet, but this song was so good. The way they showed everything off in the trailer was, in my opinion, so well done. And then to go in and get to all the gritty details about what this game is, and trying to make a name for yourself in a country that you snuck back into after your parents died. It's, like I said, it's a very different story from what Yakuza games typically tell, with characters that have never been in it. So I really believe if you've never played Yakuza, this is still absolutely something you can jump into. But
Awesome.
it is coming to Game Pass day one, and they gave winter of 2020. They said winter 2026, but they usually release their games on a yearly cadence around January, February. So I would be shocked to find this game hitting this year, because at that point it would probably only be December. But
Yeah.
why would you hit it then if you could just wait till the new year, do the same yearly cadence thing, and avoid GTA 6 if that's what you're worried about at all? But
yeah.
So, Stranger Than Heaven, Jesus Christ, I have faith. It's going to be insane.
Sounds awesome.
But, hell yeah. So, day one on Game Pass, though. That'll probably be a topic we're going to discuss soon.
Yeah, I actually would like to get into that if you don't mind, because I do want to talk a little bit,
Absolutely.
just kind of on a way of leading into this. Forza Horizon 6.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to briefly mention that because that comes out, if you buy the premium edition, it comes out next Thursday, 1 week from when we're recording this. If you don't, the Monday after. I did, which I will always regret when I do that, but they get me sometimes.
How much was it? Was it 100?
120.
Jesus Christ.
It came with the first 2 expansions, like a car pass, which is with Forza. It came with a lot of stuff, so it wasn't just that.
In my opinion, this might be a hot take. Season passes are always worth it. If you're going to enjoy the game, you're going to play
it. If you do, and like I've always played Forza Horizons. I'm not like much of a racing fan. I used to be, not really recently, but Forza Horizons still. I have so much fun with those games. My only thing is, it looks great. The map looks amazing. It's in Japan, also from the last game we were talking about. For a racing game, that's awesome. Like their 90s drifting culture, 2000s, well known around the world, especially with like shows like Initial D in anime and stuff. Everybody who's at all into cars knows the Japanese drifting scene, and so I know a lot of the roads are going to be designed around that. A lot of the tracks are going to be designed around that, so it's very interesting. Some of the other interesting things I've heard about the game, they had, first of all, it's the largest, Tokyo is the largest city they ever put in a Forza Horizon game by a mile. They've never put, like, they've had them in Mexico, they've had them in London, they had Colorado. They never put like the capital cities of any of those areas in the games because they don't fit well with racing.
Where in Japan is this?
It's most of it, I think. I don't, because like it has Tokyo.
Okay, fair
it's
enough.
A lot of, yeah. It's obviously not to scale, but like they have I don't think you can go to Mount Fuji, yeah, but they have like a lot of it available, and they actually, for this time, because they don't normally put big cities into the game, because it just doesn't, they don't think it fits well with racing. This time they decided to do it because they have a lot of, at this point in the series, they have a lot of like what they call playground games, which are like fun, just casual modes and like community created stuff and things like that. So they decided to do it, and they actually made 2 different teams, one to make only Tokyo and one to make the rest of the map, to hopefully get it to be very good. And from what we've seen, it looks amazing.
That's a smart idea.
Yeah,
honestly.
It looks amazing. My only concern is something that I think peaked it being awful in Forza Horizon 5 and looks to be pretty much as bad in Forza Horizon 6 is the size of the roads. Lanes and roads in general are fucking huge. They're so wide. You could fit like 2 cars in one lane. I think it's, as the series blew up, they want to make it like easier for like people to get into. And so if you're like doing, especially if you're doing like drifting and stuff, like the roads look so huge, which is twofold an issue. One, it makes the game just easier. And 2, it removes the sense of speed, because when you're going fast in a tight area and things are flying past you, it feels like you're going faster, even if you're going the same exact speed in a wide open area. So it kind of kills that. I have seen some gameplay footage that was like on smaller side roads and stuff, and it did look more like confined, like smaller roads and things. So hopefully there's just variety at least. But like when you're in Japan, they have those K cars that are like meant to go through city like alleys and stuff that are really skinny and tiny. And when you see one of those out on the highway and like a trailer or something like that, it looks like you can fit fucking 4 of them in a lane. It looks fucking ridiculous.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
The whole big lane thing, it's like they're setting you up for a buddy system. I thought you were going to be like, it's more like user friendly, where you can just drive around with your friends as opposed to anything else. And maybe that's what they were going for, but like,
I think it's more situation. For when you're on races, you can't, because they have pretty accurate, like, Forza Horizon hasn't been like a racing sim. It's more arcadey than like the Forza Motorsport games or Gran Turismo or something like that. It's meant more for fun than for like a simulation. But for a game like that, it's also not quite Need for Speed, where you have boosting and like that kind of thing, where it's full arcade. It's a nice middle ground of like, it feels realistic enough without requiring too much like knowledge of how a car works. it's the perfect middle ground for me as somebody who's a very casual racing fan.
F1 freak over here.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke.
That's an inside joke, yeah. But no, but like I think they made the lanes bigger so when you're doing actual racing, especially if you're doing online, you don't go off the track because Forza Horizon is open world. You can drive off the road and it's fine, but those cars will not handle well off road. And so in a game like this, you go off road and you can't control it, you're done in a race. So by making the roads bigger, people don't go off the road as much. It's like kind of Call of Duty, like it's meant for the masses, like they make it a little easier to make everybody have a good time at the disadvantage of people who want some difficulty.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, again, I don't know how Forza works, so like I'll ask this. Maybe they do it, maybe they don't. Like when you do tracks, like is there like a pro track versus the casual track?
I don't really know what you mean by that.
Like maybe I don't even know how they set up races. Because when you start a race, are you just starting it in the open world? Like, because I remember the little bit that I did in Forza Horizon 5, you go to like certain places, right?
Yeah, unless you're doing like an online race, in which case you'll probably just search for one and it'll give you a track unless you filter things or whatever. But yeah, if you're just doing like a race in the campaign, yeah, you just drive to it.
Because I was gonna say, like, as ridiculous as it would be, I wonder if they have different. Honestly, I know so little about Forza, so this might not even be viable at all. But if they have different versions of the same track where it's like, hey, this one has sharper.
I see what you're saying. I wouldn't imagine they would do that.
Okay, it wouldn't make any sense because if they have the map,
yeah, you already have all your roads. There's no reason to
change them up and
that'd be a lot of work for no reason.
Yeah, but yeah, that's interesting. So that's coming out May 19th. And if you paid $120 like this fucking shill over here, you get it on the 14th, right?
Yeah, next Thursday. So I believe that's the 14th. So it wasn't just because I like Forza. It was also because as somebody with a full-time job, May 19th is a Monday. Whereas May
this guy got a job over here
is a Thursday, so I could actually the game comes out. I'm excited to play it. Hey, look, the weekend's here. I could play it instead of hey, the game's out. I'm excited to play it. Let me play for 1 hour and then I can I gotta wait like 5 days.
I'll say two things on that. One, Monday is a fucking choice.
They probably did it to get people to do what I did.
True, honestly. And also, listen, I said it before. I don't think those special editions are usually as much of a scam as people make it out to be. Like I said, like the season pass alone makes some of them worth it, truly. Because if you're going to enjoy the game anyway, may as well just do it and get the season pass, not have to worry about that DLC stuff later. And especially if you're getting other stuff and someone like you who does have the job that you want to play for that weekend, so may as well be able to jump in 100%.
Yeah, and I always hop back into those every once in a while. Forza Horizon 5 not as much because I didn't like the map. Nothing against Mexico, it was just it didn't work for Horizon. The cities were very small. They didn't, which they always are, so that's not too much against it, but they were even smaller here. Like any town that wasn't the main city felt like 7 buildings and like that was it. And it was like, okay. And the whole map just felt very samey. It was like some hills and like graphically it looked good, but it was just not very fun to race on.
That's Randy's Yelp review of Mexico, by the way.
Yeah,
that's the title of this episode. Randy insults Mexico.
Randy reviews Mexico. Yeah,
but no, I get it totally.
Yeah, it's a similar problem with 4. I think for Horizon 2 and 3 had probably the best maps. But yeah, no, the map on this one looks outstanding. I very excited for that. Now, the big thing, I will always say this to end this little segment I had. The key thing for this game, every racing game lives or dies by its soundtrack. If the radio in the game is ass, I don't want to be driving around. So we'll see how that is.
You're so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, it's always one of those things where like maybe that's part of why I don't like click with these kinds of games at all, because the soundtrack that I'd want to listen to, they wouldn't be putting into these games. Like they're not they're not going to be adding a death metal channel and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I will say there was one, I think it was Cyberpunk 2077, that in a
that had
DLC,
some.
there
Yeah,
was one channel that I turned on and I'm like, this is disgusting for me. Who the fuck is listening to this? It's insane.
yeah. No,
But
I
no,
know.
that
Like Forza Horizon 3, like I still have some of those songs saved on Spotify. I'm waiting for when they add when they get up to modern times, they don't have radio channels anymore, and you can just connect your Spotify to the game and then like have your own playlists that you cycle through.
honestly, I love that idea. Yeah, like I just pulled it up because I was curious. Like fucking so yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, the performed by section. Yeah, the bands that are in this that are on this channel is Vermin, Dreadsoul, Tomb Mold, just bands that I haven't even heard of. The only band that I'd heard of Tomb Mold, don't listen to them, and I've heard of Converge. I also don't listen to them, but that's not like a disgusting death metal thing. But like, goddamn,
Yeah,
you got to be pulling deep shit for me to say. Even I'm not touching that. So
yeah.
fucking crazy. Um, but no, I'm glad. Did you have anything else you want to? Oh God.
No, I was looking at the soundtrack, and I guess they did release it recently, and I haven't really gone through and like looked through the whole thing, but I just noticed somebody made like a Spotify playlist of the soundtrack. So if you wanted to listen to it beforehand, you could. And there was one of the radio stations is called Sub Pop Records, and they have a song on there by a band called Pissed Jeans.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, that's out there. Here we are. There's always something.
There's always something, but yeah, no, we can move on from this now because I think it's a decent segue into this is a nice middle ground of like where Xbox is coming from to what they're going to.
Yeah. So I want to. I don't know in what order we should do this. So this might be a little bit of a mess, but I think we're going to hit a lot of the points that we want to. I think the big blanket question that we're going to be answering is, to me and you, what does Xbox need to do to stand again? I think that's just a very easy way to put it.
Okay.
Because there's a hell of a lot of things. And there's so many things to talk about and what's been done. Asha Sharma, in my opinion, and I'm curious to know yours too, I believe she is trying, at the very least, of anything that I can say. She seems to be at least the most proactive person on social media, answering fans, doing this, being like, hey, I hear you. We're going to do this. We're doing this. And it's small things. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know if did you boot up your Xbox in the last couple days at all?
No.
So she redid the Xbox logo.
Oh, I knew about that. Yeah, I saw that online.
Okay, rebranded to Xbox Gaming, and put in the new dynamic background for the logo. And when I say small things, I literally mean microscopic things, like minuscule things like this. But this is kind of leading me into one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because those are the kinds of things that I missed about Xbox. Because that Xbox boot up was just the most bland thing. And
Yep, it had no
I
character.
think these are some of the small steps that prove to me that she wants to do what she was saying she wanted to do. She wants to give an identity back to Xbox and bring it back to what used to make Xbox Xbox. So the big blanket question that I want to answer, and part of this is, how do they do that? What do we as Xbox fans, even if it's previous Xbox fans,
I'm still an Xbox fan.
that's
I'm holding on
I've
by
been
a
losing
limb,
it.
but yeah,
I've been losing it.
there are some things
So
that
what do they need to
Xbox I
do?
think still does better than PlayStation.
Okay, let me hear it.
Even
Let's start
when
with
they
that.
were making better there, I think Xbox has always been better for consumers. Their earlier adoption of backwards compatibility, their Xbox Play Anywhere thing. If you buy a game on Xbox and you have the Xbox app on PC, you could play that game there without having to buy a separate copy of it. Xbox has always done little things that have been better for consumers. I would like to
100%.
continue to see more of that. There's something I wanted to say really quick that is
Yeah.
just I'm going to get my negatives out of the way with her as she's CEO, right?
Yeah,
Of the
yeah.
Xbox
Sure.
division.
Hmm.
her background in AI from Microsoft is a worry, and also the fact that she
Always.
recently brought in a bunch of other higher ups in Microsoft that were under her in the AI division.
Yeah.
Uh, so it could be just she works well with them. It could be they're yes men. It could
Yeah.
be she wants to do AI stuff. And I think a good reference for that is I was watching a video. Have you ever watched the YouTuber Josh Strife Hayes?
No.
He
Not that I'm
mostly
aware.
does MMO stuff, a lot of RuneScape, but a lot of just MMOs in general. But he also talks about the business side of things, and he also talks about like he's very open about like companies offering him sponsorships and things like that, and what they're offering him, specifically pay and everything. He's very open about the business side of the industry. And one thing that I believe it was him that pointed out that I always think about when it comes to business, especially in gaming, is that people always talk about the money you make and everything like that, but goodwill is also a currency that companies gain and spend. And
It is so much more important than anything else.
it is something that I believe she's trying to do as CEO right now, where she's trying to build up a lot of goodwill. And that might mean in the future, some decisions she might make aren't going to be so good for us. And you won't care as much because she recently did so much good that you were like, hell yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. That now when a bad decision comes, it softens the blow of something.
So I want to just jump in really quick. What so when you say a bad decision, are
I
you
don't mean
talking
necessarily
about
for the business, I mean for the consumer, for us.
so and I think this can lead into something else too. Cuz like and I'll let you continue your thought if this is going to derail it too much, but obviously I want Game Pass to be a discussion.
Yeah.
And, a big part of Game Pass is, getting those day one releases, getting this, getting that. It's like, even realistically, I know it's still a lot of money. 22.99 for Ultimate is still a lot of money. But again, let me do the math really quick because I think I did this before and it was something along the lines of I think it was like 276. And if you 276. So it's 276 for the year if you're getting Ultimate for the year. That is 4 new games in the year. If you are someone that plays four $70 titles in the year, that paid for itself. Not to mention all the other smaller titles that are being added that you might be jumping into and all this stuff. So it's like it's harder to reason for a lot of the masses, but it's still such a good deal that they have to be losing money on certain things, this and that. When you say
Yeah.
a bad decision, how much of it is like they're making a bad decision for the consumer versus this needed to happen for the consumers to take a hit so the rest of the company can flourish? Like, what do you think?
Well, okay, so I mean, it could be either, but I think that the latter one is only when the company's not doing well. And right now, the
Hmm.
company's not already doing well. So they were already making those decisions. So they're going to need to, right now, take more of a hit to build up goodwill to get people to buy more things so that in the future, they can actually make money.
Yeah.
Now, how far they go with that, how well it works remains to be seen. Like from building up the goodwill and everything, how much they end up actually making once all of her ideas are implemented, which will probably take a couple of years.
Hmm.
But once all that stuff's there, uh, if they're doing really well, are they going to want more and more and more? Are they going to try and like beat Sony? I can't see. We can't see that far in the future of like what kind of decisions they're going to make. But I'll tell you this right now: you were saying 276. Uh, they are already taking a loss on that if you play 4 games a year, like you said.
Yeah.
I own an Xbox and I have a PC with an Xbox app on it. With the recent changes that they had made to Game Pass, making it $30, even after they went back to it, I canceled my subscription to Game Pass. I bought that $120 version of Forza Horizon 6 on Steam. Whereas if I got it on Xbox, if I had Game Pass, I could play it day one anyway. And if I wanted to upgrade, I could do it for cheaper. But I could get I could at least buy the upgrade, I think, and then play it earlier for I think like what $60 then. If I bought it on console, and I could play it on my PC as well. But I won't own that game. And with all the decisions they're making, I don't really trust Microsoft right now. So I spent instead of them taking a little bit of a loss, I bought that game on an entirely different platform, and they're really making not nearly as much on it. I know they own Forza, so they're still making something, but now Steam's getting like a 25, at least 25% cut on that game, and they just missed out on how much money? just from that. And I'm an Xbox
Yeah,
fan. So
yeah,
they're going to need to do a lot.
yeah. And I think where I want to start first, and I'm glad that you brought up Forza Horizon 6 before all this, because we already kind of touched on that. Because and I think this is the easiest thing to talk about first. Because it doesn't matter how much goodwill they put in. It doesn't matter how much they change the dynamic backgrounds, what they do with the UI, what they do with this, what they do with that. If the games suck, it doesn't fucking matter. And I know that's a harsh way of putting it, but I
No,
think
it's accurate.
they need to do an awful lot of work.
I'm
Because
going to
when I think
say a very controversial thing too. Yeah, I'll let you finish that actually. Hold on.
okay, because when I think of like big, like I'm not talking about acquisitions yet. Like I'm not like I'm going to bring in Bethesda, I'm going to bring in Blizzard, I'm going to bring in all these different things and like Activision and all of that stuff soon. But when I think Halo or when I think Xbox exclusives and first party titles that need to be good, I think Halo, I think Gears of War, I'm thinking something like Forza, I'm thinking Fable that's going to be coming out.
Those
And
are, yeah, not including Fable. Those are the top three because Fable hasn't really been around recently. But those are the
right,
three that it's like
those are the big three.
those are the big three. And even still, like now, like kids growing up haven't played those games. So
Yeah. And
what do you
and
have?
as a massive fan of both, I'm not Forza, so I'll let you kind of talk about Forza, although you already did for the most part, so it won't be as much. But like, as a massive fan of both the Halo and the Gears franchise, I may be in the minority, but Halo Infinite was by far the worst in my opinion, and Gears 5 was also the worst in the franchise. I don't know if those are popular opinions. I don't think they are,
I
but
disagree with Infinite being the worst, and I didn't play much of
that's fair.
Gears 5. I think Infinite's probably the third worst.
Damn, what's below it? I'm curious.
5 and 4
Okay.
in that order.
I mean,
Not in that order. 5 is the worst one by far.
that's
Then it's
fair.
4, and then Infinite is close, but
I mean, I have
it's a
my
little better.
reasons for Halo Infinite because I don't. We don't need to really get into it, but I very, very much dislike the fact that they tried to do an open world
Oh
formula.
yeah,
That
I hate that. I think that's
it
awful.
was. I think it was a terrible
Yeah.
decision.
I
Again, I
I
don't
think Halo 5 story, no matter if I think the multiplayer was decent in it, I think Halo 5 story
awful,
is absolutely atrocious in every
awful.
aspect. 4 story was decent, but the gameplay did revolve around running from level to level, hitting a button.
Yep.
And the multiplayer was hideous. Uh, it was absolutely disgusting. They added kill streaks basically that removed
Mm,
the entire thing of Halo multiplayer was map control, knowing where the weapons would spawn and when, and the orbital drops ruined that.
yeah.
So there was no strategy in it anymore. It was Call of Duty. Uh,
Yep.
I don't even remember if it had firefight, and the Forge mode was really bad too. Halo Infinite had a terrible open world, very good multiplayer with just not enough content in it. Towards the end, it got really good Forge. Not as good as Forge World, nothing ever will be, but good. And it got, I don't remember if it got Firefight. I think it did, but it had fun playlists and everything, and they added stuff to it. And I think by the end, Infinite was a decent game, which
I'll
I can't
I'll
really say about the other ones.
I'll 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 tell you what really solidified it for me. And again, I'm not speaking from where Halo Infinite is now. I'm speaking from where it was and where they put their priorities. The fact that they launched campaign and
Without
didn't
co-op.
have co-op campaign in it
Yeah, yeah, that's bad.
on the launch. Like it was already delayed a year, and then I think it was the month before the year anniversary or the year later that it was supposed to launch, they released the multiplayer for free and then launched the campaign without co-op. And I'm like, that's like I feel like that's almost like releasing Call of Duty without a multiplayer where you can invite a friend. Like it's almost
It's like
like
Call of Duty releasing Call of Duty without a campaign. Oh wait, they did that.
but like it like again they just like they missed the mark on what I think so many people do play Halo for. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
Halo multiplayer is fantastic and a lot of people play for that, but I think the campaign is so important and to put so much of a non-emphasis on that and that told me you guys don't give a shit about what you're doing here. You guys don't care at all.
I think that
I'm
was a
going to go ahead and
situation
knock it.
where they probably cared, but there were some mistakes made along the way, and then it was probably a business decision of like, we can't delay it again; it needs to come out now.
I
And I think
guess,
it's
but
bad.
damn.
It's bad they did it. I was going off of a point of where it is now when they like are
Mhm.
ending support for it, and I think they still just put out another update for it. Even after they said they were done with that, but endpoint at least they fixed a good amount of the issues with it. Whereas 4 and 5, they didn't fix anything I had wrong with that game. So
What is the player count on Halo Infinite right now? I'm just
do they
curious.
still like publicize that information? You can see on
Uh,
Steam, I know, because you could check the
I was
Steam
gonna
player counts.
I was gonna say I could check Steam player count. I don't think I can check Xbox.
Yeah.
SteamDB, and again, I'll always remember, just for the disclaimer here, SteamDB only shows a part of the answer, so don't
Yeah.
take it for everything. But 3,108 people playing Halo Infinite right now. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
like you
I don't
won't
know how
have
many people
trouble
are playing
finding a
that on
lobby.
Steam. Yeah, no, and
Right.
that's also like because their crossplay is a thing, and that's not
Mhm.
including people who are playing on PC on the Xbox app and people who are
Right.
playing on an Xbox. So I
Which
think
is probably the
overall it probably
majority.
has a healthy, yeah, probably the majority. So it probably has a healthy player base.
Yeah.
Um, even for they announced they weren't really going to be doing updates for it anymore, so I would imagine that number's pretty low right now.
Right.
Anyway,
Dwindled as opposed to what it could be.
yeah, but that's better than I thought it would be doing.
That's fair.
Um,
But
but yeah,
uh,
no, just more onto what Xbox specifically, I guess. Got a little
yeah.
sidetracked.
I mean, well, because where I was going with that was, it doesn't matter what else you do. If you can't make a Halo game that people care about and want to care about, if you can't make a Gears of War game that people are going to care about, because, like, I'll be real with you, I have no faith in the next Halo title.
Hmm.
I don't give a shit. Like, honest to God, like, I didn't pay for Halo Infinite. I played it through Game Pass. And if they're still going to continue the day one Game Pass thing, there's not a shot in hell I'm paying for whatever Halo's coming next. There's a good chance that I'm not even going to fucking play whatever Halo comes next, because Halo Infinite and Halo 5 destroyed what I cared about with Halo. Maybe I'll give it a shot if they show me that there are things that they can do, but, like, again, as such a massive Halo fan that still regularly plays 1, 2, 3 Reach and ODST on the Master Chief Collection, it sucks to see this franchise in a position that I don't care about. I know there's so many people like me. Gears of War being another big title. Uh, Gears 4 and 5 moving to, like, a different character set, doing a different story, having different enemy types. Gears 5 almost, again, kind of moving in what Halo Infinite did. Gears 5 introduced more, like, open missions. Like, instead of like a, hey, this is your hallway that you're going down, shoot the enemies here, go into this room and stuff like that, simple stuff. They opted for a more open section where it's like, hey, you have this vehicle, you and your squad can jump in the vehicle, and you have this entire zone to check everything out that you want to. And it's like, again, in theory, oh, that's pretty cool to try something new. But it ended up being the buggiest game I ever played. I had to like quit out of that game more than I had any other Gears game in the history of Gears. And I've played 1, 2, 3 and Judgment multiple times, and I've never had to do that. I had so many bugs with that game. I can't say that the functionality of it was bad. Like, for what they were doing, it was fine, unlike how I thought Halo Infinite did it. But it's still it's moving away from the identity of what made these games so good to me. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and
what they're
I
losing.
think it's kind of like I don't like that so many games are doing it in a lazy open world, just that we're slapping it on there kind of thing. But also, like, people complain when games get stagnant. Look at Assassin's Creed. People
Yeah,
hate how much Assassin's Creed stayed the same. And they
yeah,
changed it, and for a game or two, people liked it, and then it started to get, all right, you're just doing the same thing again. And so it's kind of six of one, half a dozen of the other in that aspect. But I think there's like a middle ground if you can keep
yeah,
the identity and make enough innovation in there to make it still good.
yeah. It's a
Um,
tough balance.
yeah. But I think kind of onto your point of those games, I don't know necessarily if it needs to be those specific games, especially with the newer generation not knowing those games for Xbox to like kind of make a comeback. I think it's kind of a lot of people disagree with me on this, and I kind of disagree with myself. I think they need exclusives. Um, I think those are bad.
110%.
Those are bad for consumers. I fully think that, but you need a reason for people to buy your console.
You
And
know what
if
it is?
PlayStation is getting everything and then their own games on top of it, why are you buying an Xbox?
And that's exactly where I was. I looked at myself and I'm like, I'm not getting the next Xbox. I'm getting a PlayStation
Yeah.
6 and just moving on. But exclusives, the thing is, and this is kind of going back to what I was asking you before, where it's like, if she starts to make decisions that aren't consumer friendly, it's not because she's going against the consumer. It's because she has to put the company first so that there is competition for people like Sony. Within days, I think it was when Phil
It's
Spencer stepped away. Within days of that announcement, PlayStation came out and said they're no longer putting their first party titles on PC.
It was one day before they had their shareholders meeting where they announced that their next console would have PC integration.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's for anything else I could say, the simplest answer is we need to save Xbox so Sony can't be pieces of shit.
You know what's funny? In a roundabout way, being anti-consumer and adding exclusives is also kind of pro-consumer because competition is good for the consumer. If one company becomes basically a monopoly and everybody buys their games from PlayStation, then PlayStation can do whatever they want, like with their newer update where they we were talking about last week with the 30-day window thing. They can do worse. If nobody's buying their games anywhere else and you're fully locked into this ecosystem,
what are you gonna do? Not play games anymore?
Yeah. So yeah, on one hand, exclusives kind of sucks for people who like me mostly play on PC, but I have a console, so for people who only have one system that they play on, it sucks for them. It's pretty bad. But
and don't get me wrong, like I feel for that, like I do.
Oh no, I totally do.
Because everything is so expensive now. It's you have to be very lucky to kind of be in a situation like I am, where I have my camera sitting on top of my Xbox Series X that is next to my Nintendo Switch 2 that are above my PS5. Like
yeah, I have my PC right here. I have my Xbox Series X in the other room. I have my Switch 2, my girlfriend's Switch. I have a 2DS. I have a Game Boy Advance. I have a bunch of systems I can play on.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah. But growing up, I had my Game Boy Advance and I had my Xbox 360. And so it was like when like God of War was on PS3, I wasn't playing that and it looked really cool and I wanted to play it. And so I totally don't like exclusives for that purpose. With Xbox having PC integration moving forward, they're at the very least going to not have maybe full console exclusives, or maybe not like full exclusives, but console exclusives where it won't be on PlayStation, but it'll be on PC as well. We'll see how much, because I know they announced before she took over, they announced that the Halo remake would be on PlayStation, which I get where I think that's one of those decisions we were talking about where it's for the business. They needed to make money and people weren't buying Xboxes. So I understand it from that point of view, but why did we get that far?
Yeah. I mean, you know why we got that far because of Xbox just not having it. No one gave a shit enough about the games to get a console. So, I mean, it's one of those things that you can see what Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond were trying to do. It's not like all of their decisions were terrible, but the terrible decisions they made, they were trying to do what they could with it. If you don't have the games to support your console, no one's going to buy your console. If you're not buying the console, they need to make money somewhere. How can we make money? If we put our games elsewhere. That's the only way we can make money, because they're also not making money for the people that had the console because you have Game. So
I think the big thing was the Blizzard Activision acquisition shouldn't have happened.
$69 billion.
Yeah, I think that shouldn't have happened. That cost them a lot of money. And I think a lot of the decisions that Phil made were in the line, in like the realm of thinking of like, if we own enough big companies and a lot of like game companies, they'll end up making good games. And then we could do pro-consumer things like the Play Anywhere. And the Game Pass, when it was cheap, was a good idea. But then nobody was making good games. So
I'm actually curious, really, if you don't mind me jumping in with a question for that. Do you think this conversation would be very different right now if Starfield was a Bethesda RPG on the scale of Skyrim? If that game came out and was good?
I don't think it would be very different, but I think it would be different.
Okay.
I think that having one exclusive game is better than none. So if you had something to show for all these things you've purchased, then it would change the conversation, but one game is not enough to do that.
And especially
also, like, their games that are successful are like thrown. Okay, I guess successful is a weird way to put it, because I don't know if you remember when the Xbox One launched and like everybody hated Xbox, and one of the launch games for it was Sunset Overdrive. I don't know if you played that.
I did not, but I know you talked about it. So go.
Game kicks ass. It's awesome. Yeah. It's really good. I don't think it sold incredibly well because it was a new IP. Everybody was low on Xbox at the time anyway. But because it didn't sell very well, they just threw it out and they just never made anything else with it again. And it was just gone. And then same thing, Hi-Fi Rush. That came out a couple of years ago. Game reviewed amazing. Everybody loved it.
Dude,
throw it out.
So okay, so a couple things to say on this because I like the line of thinking here. First off, I did not realize Insomniac
Yes, yeah,
were
that
some
was
of the
it.
developers.
I knew it was, yeah.
It must have been before the Sony acquisition of
Mhm.
Insomniac. Okay, so that's interesting. But yeah, no, I this is a game that I definitely have to try. But I'm so glad that you brought up Hi-Fi Rush because that game literally won awards. And then a month later, they said it didn't meet their expectations and they closed Tango Gameworks. I
Yep.
don't know who bought them out, but Tango Gameworks is alive and is well with the original people that work there because someone else bought out the studio and said, "Nope, we're going to let you keep doing your thing." Randy, I have a question for you.
I just looked up the sales numbers for that game.
Sunset
That's
Overdrive,
no for Hi-Fi Rush.
how much was it? It's
Take a
abysmal, I'm sure.
wild take a wild guess with them saying that it didn't meet their expectations.
Okay, so here's the thing. I feel like okay, if just guessing, I know nothing about this. I feel
Mhm.
like there can't be a million. I feel does this include PS5 sales? They brought it to PS5. I'm
Um,
almost positive.
this is from level.com. This is as of March 2023.
3 years ago. When did the game come out?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well,
Okay,
okay,
well,
so that's okay. Well, that's players considering that. Let's see here. By August 2023. Oh, let's go to the Wikipedia page
okay,
because let me
Okay,
let me get like a more up to date thing on it.
okay. It came out January 25th of 2023. But if I
Yes.
had to guess,
Okay.
I don't think if you're not including PS5 sales, I don't think this game sold that much because this seems like one of those games that's like, hey, it's on Game Pass. Yeah, I'll get
So
Game Pass.
by August 2023, so it probably wasn't on PS5 there,
Okay,
but
no, it was not.
by that date, the game reached 3 million players between purchase copies and Game Pass subscriptions. You're going to
Now,
have 3 million players and then say that that didn't meet your expectations for a shadow drop of a small game that
but you know why I don't think it met expectations? Because it didn't make the money. Because if I had to guess, at least 2 million of those 3 million people were playing it on Game Pass. So they didn't make money from it.
but what I'm thinking is what were your expectations? Because this is a
Well,
small game from a studio you've never who's never really done much and like an IP that wasn't pre-existing. You're
right,
releasing it on Game Pass, so people can't aren't who already have that aren't even going to buy it. You hit 3
right.
million players and you're still surprised?
Yes, that's exactly my point too. Because like what Game Pass also did was they Game Pass fucked with how the company can measure expectations because because what I'm assuming happened is I don't think the top brass CEO gives a shit about how many people were playing it. They don't look at player numbers and say, "Oh, this is a popular game." They look at the price that it took to make it and how much money they made out of it. And when they don't see that much money being made out of it because most of it was done through Game Pass, they're like, "Wow, this didn't make me Fortnite money. Close the fucking studio." And it happens time and time again.
That's probably like pretty true. I would say my only like argument against that is the whole argument for Game Pass existence is a lot of times companies are willing to take a hit on top end amount of sales if they have a guaranteed amount of money they're making every month. That's why they like subscription services. You can look at growth yearly and say, hey, look, more people are subscribing to our service. And then because of this sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, hey, look, we might have made more if everybody bought these games, but also like some people who are playing, who are staying subscribed to this thing over time, maybe they don't mean to be, but they are subscribed, and we're making at least close to that amount of money that we could possibly be making if we get lucky, but it's guaranteed.
Yeah,
And the thing is, with like a small game like that, it goes like, what are your expectations? How do
right.
you think Fortnite? You don't have microtransactions. It's not free to play. It has to be bought in this subscription or by itself. I don't understand how you could even get to a point if you know anything about sales industries other than number go up. Like, how do you get to a point where your expectations are surprised that like if you think 3 million is low for this kind of game?
So let me shock you with something. Did you know that Square Enix said that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth way undersold their expectations? Now, granted,
Square Enix doesn't don't they say that after every game?
every game. So I'm saying that to say I think there's a difference between the Xbox top brass versus the shareholders that are saying
Yeah, oh yeah, there absolutely are.
so the people that like there's I think I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know what the workings behind the curtain, but like exactly what you're saying. Like all of this makes so much fucking sense. Like that is Hi-Fi Rush was such a massive success for the metrics that they should have been looking at that it makes no sense. That the only reason the studio got shut down is because the people that are looking at it making that final decision are the dipshits that don't know what they should be looking at, who are just
Yeah.
making these arbitrary decisions. And I want to bring this one up really quick if you're cool with me to change the topic a little bit. Blue Point fucking Studios. Did we talk about this at all?
I think a little bit. The name sounds familiar.
So here's Xbox. Listen, Asha Sharma has been very proactive in responding to people and fans and Xbox fans. We are the smallest podcast out there right now. You're not going to see this. What you, the viewers' job is to get this fucking scene. Because, Randy, this would make so much fucking sense to me. They spent so much money on so many acquisitions over the past 10 years or so. Xbox has gone so deep in the woods with buying Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, whoever else they now own. The only reason I feel like you could do that, like, do you know how easy money it would be to, in addition to all of the studios that they have working on new games like Bethesda doing the Elder Scrolls 6 and stuff like that, you have an amazing back catalog of games to remake, to bring to modern platforms. Give me a Fallout 3 remake. It would be fine. The only the thing is, like, well, you don't want Bethesda. You want Bethesda to be Bethesda. That was definitely a part of their deal. They're like, hey, you're going to keep doing your thing. Whether they're working completely on Elder Scrolls 6, whether Fallout 5 is in development, whatever the case may be, get me that Fallout 3 remake. The assets are there. Even if they have to redo some stuff, I don't know any dev side of things. So again, comments if
I know
you know.
they said that the original code for New Vegas they don't have. So
Right,
they can't
that one
do
I know.
they can't do an Oblivion style remake for that, which they shouldn't. That game's still broken.
Yeah, absolutely. But the reason I'm saying this is because you have all of these studios now. Why are you not giving us games like these at a cadence? Xbox, you have the best opportunity to do the smartest thing in the world. Sony shut down Blue Point Studio, which is the studio that was famous for doing remakes. They did the Shadow of the Colossus remake. They did the Demon's Souls remake. Sony acquired them and then put them in charge of a live service God of War title. That's like owning a restaurant and then being like, I want to expand. I'm going to buy that bank over there. And then you go next street to the bank that you just acquired and you go to the head teller and you're like, hey, make me a cake. And the guy's like, well, I don't really do that. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. And then he makes a bad cake and he's like, this was awful. I'm shutting you down. It's like, a fucking course they didn't do that. That's not what they do. Xbox, acquire Blue Point. You don't have to bother Bethesda with the Fallout 3 remake. You just own Blue Point, say, hey, your job right now, get me that Fallout 3 remake. Like, Fallout 3. Like,
remake.
there's so many opportunities like to bring a studio like Blue Point on to do what they do best. That's always so received well.
I think what's kind of interesting too is how they've shifted their strategies in, I believe it was like around 2023-ish to 2024 with like the developers that they own, because they were criticized heavily for years, like basically since Xbox One up until around that time and probably for the next couple of years. They basically don't interfere in game. They didn't interfere in game development at all, which led to a lot of problems, like with Halo Infinite's delays and everything. Xbox was not really on top of the developers with Fable's delays, with Perfect Dark getting canceled. All of these things happened because, at least partially, it was like, do what you want. And then the developers were getting like lost in their own stuff and being like, hey, we're going to change this and change that and change this. And Microsoft never kept them to anything. I know in like 2023, they changed kind of their outlook on that, and at least with some things. It probably is why Starfield is a little bit like how it is, but I don't know if they would do that with Bethesda. Wait, no, they put Matt Booty in charge of things at ZeniMax.
What a name.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyway, but yeah, no. So I'm interested to see how their next big releases come out, where it was more like, I don't know how much more hands-on they are now, but I know they definitely changed their outlook on some things, and we'll see with the CEO in the next couple of years if they kind of take over a little more of like, no, you're gonna be doing, like, you have this idea, you're gonna set to it, and whether the idea is good or not, at least it's better than there being like 7 different ideas that we're all trying to implement at once, and then nothing gets made or it gets canceled or delayed. And yeah, I'd rather you focus on one mediocre idea and make it the best version of itself than have a bunch of different things turn into nothing.
Absolutely. Um, so it's just one of those things where I'm like, you acquire this back catalog and you're not doing anything with it. It should be so easy. It should be such an easy win because I think remakes and stuff like that could be goodwill. The thing is, you're also talking about this industry that is constantly criticized if you're not innovating. If you're not doing something new, it's stagnant, like Assassin's Creed. If you're trying something new and it flops, you're doing something like we were talking about with Halo Infinite that people didn't like the open world. Like there's a middle ground, but you can't please
And it's
everybody.
also hard because like when you're saying like remakes, like people are getting sick of remakes.
Exactly. But you know what the thing is, in my opinion, like we're at a point in video games. It is 2026. Like if we talk about games from 30 years ago, that first off that's fucking crazy, but like also games from 30 years ago looked crazy. Like they
Yeah.
just looked we're talking PS1 games. Like they deserve some remakes. The thing is, I think what would make a remake bad is if it's taking the place of what a studio could be working on next.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's such a good idea if like if you want to leave Bethesda doing the Elder Scrolls 6 stuff, because dear fucking god, do not push the Elder Scrolls 6 back any more than it is already. But
Honestly,
if
at
they
this
were
point, my hype is like a little bit died down just because I don't expect it to ever come out. So it's like I'd rather it
well,
come out in 5 years and be amazing than come out in 2 and be not good.
I want to talk about the Elder Scrolls 6 next because I think we have very different expectations. But
Okay.
um what was it? Oh, get Blue Point. If you just buy that studio back, it's not big. I don't think there are that many people there. Buy Blue Point back. Let Bethesda continue working on what they're doing and just say, hey, this team is going to be here. They're going to be working on redoing this game. It's not going to take any extra time for you guys to do your thing, but we're going to have an extra thing coming out for, and again, I'm not a developer, so I don't know the dev side of things, but I imagine if you have a game that's made already and you're remaking it, most of the assets are there. You don't need to do a storyboard thing. You don't need to do this and that. Like a lot of the work is done already.
Yeah.
It has to take less resources and less time to remake most games than it is to build a new game from scratch. Again, not every time, but I think a lot of times. And if you're willing to just take a couple extra people and do that while they're working on something else, you're getting more releases out for the people that want those releases for those remakes, and you're still not letting it hinder the projects moving forward. Again, that might be like head in the clouds kind of mentality. Like there's no way that it could work like that behind the scenes. I don't know, but I just feel like the alternative is what they're doing, which is absolutely fucking nothing and just closing every studio down, which is
Yeah. Yeah, I
ridiculous.
agree. I think if you want to I guess just to end it, because like we could talk about Bethesda, like you were saying, in Elder Scrolls 6, because it's kind of leans into Xbox's future, seeing as they own Bethesda. And just like I guess we can end off on that then, because we don't really have a fun thing planned for this episode, as seeing as we're already at an hour
Yeah,
and
no,
32 minutes.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want to start or should I?
I, I mean, I'll start really quick. I'll start with the
Okay.
question, then I'll let you riff because I
Okay.
think it'll open into a lot of things. I myself am not looking forward to the Elder Scrolls 6 at all. This game is going to be built up to high hell, as it has already been for however long. Bethesda does not do a lot of things well, even now. This game will probably, and I think this game will probably fall flat in a lot of places to what a 2030 RPG will probably look like by then. I don't know how they're going to keep up to those standards. I have no idea. But the question I want to give to you, in addition to your top level thoughts on what this game could do, is the Elder Scrolls 6 Xbox exclusive?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Let me hear it.
Well, I don't really have much to say to that other than I
Well,
don't
no,
think
yeah,
it will
just your
be.
thoughts. Interesting.
Starfield wasn't. I could see timed exclusive. I don't think it'll be full exclusive though. But okay, so top level thoughts. I think it's not going to be Skyrim or Oblivion level. I think it will be a solid game. I know. So my biggest issues with Starfield, other than I think the story was weird. I think that like those powers didn't need to be there. I think they wanted to have some form of the shout thing from Skyrim. So they put something in there that didn't really matter. But the biggest issues with Starfield were the fast traveling everywhere, the disjointed world, the graphical issues, things like that. graphical issues aside, most of the issues with the game are very specific to Starfield, and I physically don't think you could have them in uh, Elder Scrolls. A lot of it was like the procedural generated stuff, but that was because the size of the planets that they tried to put in there for some reason. It's just not stuff that in an Elder Scrolls game, an issue that it would run into. The story could still be bad, but I also think Starfield had factions. What were the pirate faction called? Because that was one of my favorite storylines in a Bethesda game.
Was
That
it
was really
Space
cool.
Raiders or
Yeah, that was
something
really
like
cool.
that?
Like the imprisoned like captain from like the ancient time. Like that was sick. That storyline was awesome. So they do have the ability to write something. I agree that some of their stuff is outdated. I am wondering to see how much they learn from what they did in Starfield, because I know they didn't even really start development of Elder Scrolls 6 until Starfield was out. So how much they're not really going to be they might play it a little safer with like trying new things, because they don't really need to at this point. They just need to kind of match the world and adventure sense of Skyrim. They don't need to be throwing a lot of things in there that doesn't need to be. I
I think
would
it was the Crimson Fleet. I think
Crimson
it was
Fleet,
one
that
of
was
them.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
like, that sounds
yeah.
right. Okay.
I know they like to put in those like building mechanics into all of their games now, which I think would be weird. I think the only place I could see it being fun is if the rumors about the game being in Hammerfell, like centered around the Red Guards, are true, and you could build your own ship and actually sail it around, not fast travel. That would be pretty sick. But other than that, I don't really care about the system. I don't really interact with it. I just hope they don't like keep yelling at me about it like they did in Fallout 4.
That's fair. That's
uh,
fair.
yeah, it's. I think there's like so little ways that they could absolutely destroy this, as long as like the game runs better than Starfield did, doesn't run into the same issues. Many of them, I don't think it physically can run into. It will at least be decent. Um, yeah, that's about it. I think next year we're going to get an announcement at least,
Okay.
because
So
and also we might even get a shadow drop.
so here's my question, because you're right. I know he was talking about that and how much he
Mhm.
loved doing it for the Oblivion remake. So here's the thing, Randy. Is that gonna help Xbox at all?
Yeah, I mean it's Elder Scrolls. It's going to sell well.
I don't. It'll sell well, but then you're still looking at like what metrics do you think they're looking at still? Like, yeah, it'll
Hmm.
make money, but
Yeah,
then like,
I guess
I
it
mean,
depends on if they include it on Game Pass. Because with them removing Call of Duty, maybe they'll end up removing Bethesda games from Game Pass.
mhm.
I can't imagine they would, because that's an easy one where people aren't really continually like
Right, they're
you
not
don't.
subscribing to it for Bethesda games.
Yeah, that's one that's a plus of like if you are coming back to Xbox and you don't want to buy the game again from like secondhand or like digitally or something like that. That's an easy one to keep in there, where it's like there isn't a yearly release for you to keep up with or anything. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll go back to that, and it's something to keep you subscribed.
Yeah,
But that's an easy one to keep in there that I could see them putting the new one on. But yeah, I guess that would depend on sales. Like I'll probably buy that game anyway. Like I know Claire Obscure came out on Game Pass, and I had Game Pass at the time, and I was hyped from that game for that game since it was announced. So
yeah,
I like knew that game was gonna be good. That's one point of pride I'll always hold, is the second I saw that game, I was like, this is gonna be fucking amazing, and I
yep,
bought it on release
yep. At
because I
that
knew I
Xbox
was gonna
Partner
want to
Preview.
play it again at some point. And yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I bought it twice. I got the steelbook. I got the steelbook
I
copy
didn't
for
buy the
both
steelbook,
Xbox and
but yeah.
PlayStation. Oh, it was so
Uh,
good. But I think like my biggest red flag here is like, again, I think the first thing Xbox needs to fix is their games. And the most you could give me was the Elder Scrolls 6 will be decent. And it's
well, I
like,
think that's at the very
damn.
least.
I
I
don't
don't
know
think it'll
about
be
that one,
bad.
bud. How was Starfield?
Like I said, the main issues with Starfield, this one can't physically run into.
It could have different problems.
It could have
And
different problems, but like
but does
what
Bethesda give you like do they give you enough faith that they won't run into different problems of any kind of caliber that will make you say,
it's so hard
that's
because we
just
have so
rough.
few examples of they don't put out games very often.
Yeah.
So it's like
I
it's
mean,
hard to say.
so the whole thing is like critically, and how people are going to be talking about this game is like it's always like this is going to be the follow up to Skyrim. People are going to be like, "Wow, this is the Elder Scrolls 6. We haven't had one since the Elder Scrolls 5, which we had other things in between, not a lot. We had the Elder Scrolls Online. That's ZeniMax. It's a completely different studio, so it's different. But like
Yeah.
the Elder Scrolls 5 to 6, I don't care what you do. This game is not going to be Skyrim, and that's
You're
going
not
to
gonna.
be
So
that's going to be the conversation.
I don't know how
Skyrim.
active you are with like the community surrounding Elder Scrolls games.
I'm going to stop you right there, really quick, because that's probably not most of the people that matter here.
Oh, no, but I just want to use it as an example for moving forward, where that was always going to
Okay.
be the case.
Okay, go for it.
People who are like big fans of Morrowind, a lot of them were disappointed when Oblivion came out. Not everybody, a lot of people love Oblivion, obviously. Then Oblivion was a lot of people's starting point, and that was the gold standard. They couldn't really go back to Morrowind, and they were a little disappointed even when Skyrim came out. A lot of Oblivion fans were disappointed with Skyrim. They simplified the dungeons a lot. The spell crafting wasn't a thing. They made it much more of an adventure game and less of an RPG in Skyrim, and a lot of people didn't like that at the time. So moving forward, it doesn't matter how long you waited for an Elder Scrolls 6 or what they did or how good the game was. You were going to have, with how big Skyrim is and was at the time, you're always going to have a large percentage of the people disappointed with the changes that get made in the next one. That was going to happen anyway, no matter how good the game is. And I don't think that Bethesda's as good as they were. So I think it's already off to like a bad start of like, it's probably not going to be as good.
And think about how many more people have played Skyrim than played Oblivion. Like
Yeah.
you are probably looking at a massive percentage of people that are going to be disappointed.
That's kind of what I'm
this.
saying. Like, regardless of how good Bethesda does with this, it's you hit like lightning in a bottle with Skyrim, and you're gonna disappoint some people. So
what I'm saying about this isn't necessarily about Bethesda or the Elder Scrolls 6. I'm talking about it in the greater scheme of Xbox. We're talking about Xbox. Like they need to get better games.
yeah, and I think they can't rely on Elder Scrolls for that.
No, but do you think that's going to be a game that'll be like I think it should be exclusive because I think the Elder Scrolls does, no matter what 6 is going to do, I think it has weight to it. I do like Starfield did not change people's minds. Starfield was like, it's going to be Xbox exclusive. I'm good. I'm fine. People did not go out and get Xboxes for it. Apparently, it's sold really well on PS5 though, so I guess that's good. But I think especially seeing how mediocre the response to Starfield was overall and how well it sold on PS5, you have something like the Elder Scrolls 6. I think you keep that exclusive. I think you do use that to sell the console.
I think it probably would be a good way to sell the console. I just feel weird about it from like a consumer standpoint on that one. When you come from a series that was historically not exclusive to then just suddenly make it exclusive and be like, buy our console, it feels shitty. So that one, I feel like you should rely more on new IPs from my own perspective. But on a business thing, I understand that could totally work.
And so actually that's one other point I wanted to bring up because when we were bringing up IPs from Xbox, we talked about Halo, we talked about Gears of War, we talked about Forza, we talked about even Bethesda now with what they're doing with the Elder Scrolls 6 and moving forward. We didn't talk about Fable, but we don't need to get into specifics. I hope that Fable is going to be amazing.
From what I've seen, it looks good. Yeah. I have faith in it. I think it could be a good revitalization. I think Xbox, if that is good, I think Xbox needs to do more of that. And I think the big thing is new IPs. They need new IPs. They need to turn those exclusive. That's what I think they need to do.
Yes.
Make them available on PC, sure, because it seems like you're going to be doing integration anyway. And obviously, like we were saying with Elder Scrolls, that won't be only on Xbox. That'll be on PC. The largest point, like they have so many, like the modding community surrounding those games is insane.
Massive.
You can't release that only on a console.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think exclusives are what they have to do. PC integration. I like the play anywhere. Keep that going because I could play on my console then. Like that's, and I probably will get another Xbox. But I think you should have some console exclusives. I don't know if they'll or console exclusives as in like not on PC as well.
Okay.
I think it would be. I think Xbox needs to. I think it's better to obviously more places you can play, but I think it's something that they need to do. People need a reason to buy their consoles, and they're not giving them to them. The reason is games. It's always been games, and it's something that they've for years weren't even attempting to try it, and they bought a bunch of studios, and I think just kind of hoped they made gold, and yes, it didn't. They didn't.
and this is one thing, like, I'm not even going to talk about Sony. I'm going to bring up Nintendo. As
Nintendo nails it.
many gripes as I have with Nintendo, the reason why Nintendo reigns supreme in so many ways is because no matter what stupid fucking decisions they make, no matter what weird things they do, and you're like, all right, I guess that's what they're going ahead with, they have always focused on the games first. So
Yep.
that's never been an issue for them, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to ask about Xbox in general, because I'm very curious to see what your thoughts were, because I had very different thoughts about what was probably going to happen before Asha Sharma took over. But in terms of Halo, we have Halo Campaign Evolved coming out. I think this year is what it's. I think it's slated for 2026. Nothing more specific stated. It doesn't have multiplayer. It's coming to PS5. What do they do with multiplayer, Randy?
Moving forward,
Yeah.
like if they keep doing remakes.
So also, I don't know if you heard the leaks or anything. Like,
I heard that it's like through 3 they were probably going to be doing remakes for.
yeah.
So my thoughts on multiplayer is I think you should have had combat evolved. I'm not entirely like down on them not having it because I don't think it would hold up very well. I have played it sort of recently and it's fine for what it is, but it's just outdated now. So I'm not too hurt personally about them not having combat evolves multiplayer. And I used to play that back in the day, so I have nostalgia for that, and I think that
Mhm.
Halo 2, I think the remake on Master Chief Collection is still good enough. I don't think you need to do it again. I think as much as it was a statement, it was Xbox. If it's a okay, I'll say this. If they do a remake of Halo 2 and it is a launch game for the next Xbox console, it needs
Project
multiplayer.
Helix.
Yeah, it needs multiplayer. If it's not, it doesn't need multiplayer. I think the Master Chief Collection's Halo 2 remake still looks amazing.
Sure.
So that's fine. You can't do Halo 3 without doing the multiplayer.
So I want to ask you this actually, because this is where my mind went to. You're bringing Halo Campaign Evolved over to PS5, and you're saying, "Hey, no multiplayer. It's this much money. You're going to play the campaign. We put in some extra missions. We're going to get this new audience that maybe never had an Xbox into Halo." For the multiplayer moving forward, we're releasing standalone Halo. It's free to play. And this is before Asha Sharma that I was thinking this.
Mm-hmm.
It's free to play on all platforms. It's cross-platform. Then you have your whole. Then you have all your other monetization and microtransaction stuff. But it's trying. I was thinking they were really trying to hit that new audience, pull people in at first with Campaign Evolved, get them into the ecosystem, and then tell them, "Hey, here we have this." Now, this also goes along with the fact that every goddamn studio under the sun was trying to chase that battle royale thing, that the free to play multiplayer. Halo has the namesake, though I don't think it's had the staying power for a very long time because people don't care about it as much as they used to. Putting it cross-platform may have been.
I think with Halo, with the next multiplayer, you need to do a little more. And so you cut out a little on my end, so I didn't hear the full thing, but I got the gist, like the free to play like version, which they did do with Infinite. I think that arena shooters aren't really a thing right now like they used to be. So you can't just do that. I think you need to change something about gameplay. Maybe it's just a game mode and the gameplay stays the same. But you need to have, and I know they tried this with 5. They had that breakout mode that was a competitive thing that I thought was pretty fun. They had in the Warzone thing in 5 as well, which was like the loot box stupid shit that was basically big team with like I hated that.
Yeah.
But I think you'd need to do something along the lines of like that, because like the big FPS games right now that are newer, the newest one I could think of is what Counter-Strike. Overwatch just had a big update that kind of revitalized it. But the big free-to-play FPS games, they get big because they're competitive and they're difficult to get really good at. Halo was difficult to get good at, but it wasn't. I don't know. Arena shooters just aren't that. We need a little more at this point. I think people have. It's a little outdated now to just have like you grab a power weapon and you shoot somebody. You need a little something else, and so they need to either add like some sort of game mode like that if they want this game to still be like their big thing. I think honestly, what they should do is like keep Halo as more of a side project, focus more on the story, have the multiplayer there for fun, and then if you need something as a big moneymaker, make a new IP for it. Because I'd
That makes
rather
sense.
you not have the biggest expectations and try to force Halo to be what it was and then just make a mediocre or bad product. I'd rather you just make it a passion project for the people who really love it.
343 Studios is no longer allowed to work on Halo projects.
Yes,
That's
neither is
fucking
Bungie.
crazy.
I don't
So
care.
true.
Bungie can't do it anymore.
No. So I agree with you. I think what we come down to is like we list all these IP, and I mean single handedly, just checklist. Is the next Halo going to be good enough to save Xbox?
No, no
Is the
single game
next
will.
Gears of War can't. Forza can't. It doesn't matter how good those are. You need a lot of them built up, and not just that, but you can't keep surviving on the same 5 IP. We need new IP to stand
We've
tall and
needed.
do that. Yeah, I mean, because like you look at PlayStation, and I mean, you just to even stand toe to toe, like I don't think anything. Like the thing that can come the closest to The Last of Us is probably the Bungie era of Halo.
I'm gonna real hot take real quick about Sony PlayStation.
Mhm.
I think they're kind of running into a similar problem right now, or they're about to start running into a similar problem if they don't release something like crazy soon. I'll
Mm.
say they're on the cusp of doing it because a lot of their games, even if they are different franchises, they follow a similar formula, and you just know when you're playing a Sony game now.
Mhm.
So it might not be that like, oh, they're definitely not anywhere near Xbox still, but a lot of their at the start of through PS4 and the beginning of PS5, I felt like I was missing out by not having a PlayStation. At this point, I don't care to play a current Sony game.
Interesting. Okay.
I think they're pretty good. I'm expecting a solid like 8 out of 10 of them. Beautiful graphics, great cutscene, decent story, and pretty fun gameplay of like a linear kind of action, not RPG, but action story game.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of their games. Maybe some of them are open world and kind of follow into more of like a Assassin's Creed thing with like Spider-Man and Ghost of Yote and Tsushima.
Mhm.
Kind of follow
Horizon.
Assassin. Yeah, Horizon that follows like they have like two little I guess niches that they do where it's like God of War style like single player action linear games and then more of an Assassin's Creed style open world collectathon kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I expect from Sony. And they're not bad, but they get old. And I'm just not excited for anything that they talk about now.
And
So
I'll tell you the rough side of the other side of the coin, because the other side of the coin is also saying, well, it takes about 6 or 7 years to develop a game now, so maybe in 6 or 7 years you won't feel like that and you'll want something like it. But
maybe Xbox will bounce back by then.
yeah, it's very true. Because I mean, again, I don't think Naughty Dog has a game on the PS5.
No,
I
they
don't
have
think
that
they
one
do.
they announced like what 2 years ago that we got like next to nothing on, and then
Oh,
they
Intergalactic.
yeah.
That's not. I don't think that's going to be a PS5. I think that's going to be
Oh
one of
yeah,
the
no,
PS6.
I
Oh
just
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
only thing I know they're
That's the
working
only
on.
thing. Yeah, so like you look at like something like Naughty Dog that had the more linear action kind of game that they were doing with Uncharted, and to be fair, I don't know what took that place, because when I think of PS5 titles, I'm thinking games like God of War Ragnarok, which I guess is more linear for what I understand of it. I'm thinking well, I mean, one of my favorite games, which I think was a massive step in the right direction, which I don't know how you felt about, but I know you didn't play because you don't have the PS5. Astrobot. Astrobot is one of my favorite games I've ever
I
played.
love the idea of it. I haven't played
Oh
it.
my
I love
god,
that they're making games like that. It's just not that kind of thing that intrigues me.
totally
Um,
fair.
I think a step in the right direction. Actually, for Xbox, with Bethesda owning the studio, I think the Indiana Jones game was a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so I think they should do more stuff like that. But
Well,
yeah,
we'll see.
that was different from the formula, and I don't know how it's sold, but
Let me take a look actually,
yeah,
because I also don't know. It obviously won Game of the Year. Um, I don't think it's on PC, so it
game of
should
the
be
year,
kind of easy. Huh?
game of the year.
Yeah, Astrobot. Oh,
Oh,
do you
I was
mean
Indiana
Indiana
Jones.
Jones?
Yeah, I was
My bad,
like,
my
wait,
bad.
what?
Well, it was on Game Pass, so
Yeah,
if the answer is out there, it's probably not that many. Yeah, okay. So this is the AI overview, so I'm putting it there. But Indiana Jones has seen over 5 million players. with over 300,000 copies estimated sold on Steam as of April 2025. So again, you look at that and it's like, god damn, 5 million people, and supposedly, like, again, if 300,000 are selling on Steam, how many people on Xbox are buying it? It says following its April 2025 is when it came out on PS5. But it said following that, it sold 117,000 copies in its first week on PS5, which is pretty good. But even at its top, you might be looking at 1 million sold, which is good. Don't get me wrong. Like a million's a good milestone. But when you're looking at like 5 million players, that's 20% people who paid for the game, which is where I think the Game Pass conversation is rough. But what are you going to do?
According to IGN,
that's better. Way better.
Yeah, well, so it's from the AI review, but citing IGN on this part from what I looked up. And according to their article, I'm actually just going to go to it really quick. Oh, never mind. It's trying to make me sign in.
I've never seen IGN wanting you to sign in.
Well, it was like IGN. Yeah, it was linked through something, but it is IGN. It's hard to tell because by all accounts, it seems to be that it was pretty successful. Microsoft didn't really have a thing on what they didn't make a statement on if it was or wasn't, but it seems it's why it's hard to tell is in like the window in December when that game came out, Microsoft's overall revenue dipped, but Indiana Jones was a large portion of the revenue that they did have that month. So it was like I can't tell if it performed well and everything else Microsoft was doing didn't, or if it was part of the reason that
I mean, again,
but it seems like it sold pretty well. Even like you were saying, it was the best-selling game on PS5 on its launch week. And so
I didn't say that.
Oh well, I looked that up. It was.
I was also like, I also don't know what would have sold that much more. The last week of April.
But it seemed like it sold at least decently. I don't see Microsoft coming out and saying that it was a failure. So Machine Games didn't get closed.
Yeah, true. So fucking true.
Yep, they did release a DLC for it, so it must have
did something.
Yeah.
So shout out Troy Baker for that incredible ass performance. My God.
Right? But I guess just to wrap it up, Microsoft needs to make some exclusives. They need to be willing to take a hit for the next like 2 years, in order to
build this IP.
Build their own IP as a brand to back up as something that consumers want to be a part of. And then I think they need to come out strong with their next console. I know that they want the Steam integration. I know that the PC thing, people are expecting high prices, especially with like PC stuff currently happening. You need to price it competitively. You can't just have Steam on there and then charge $300 more than the PS6 will. Yeah. Because even if it's the best console ever, if you're pricing it wrong, it doesn't matter.
Yep, 100%.
So they need to be willing to take a hit for the next couple of years, come out swinging with the new console, and have new IPs, as well as at least one or two other like bring back some other IPs for the launch of it, of the next console. And I think if they do that, they'll set themselves up well for the future.
100%. So we want to hear in the comments, wherever you are, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. What do you want to see from Xbox? What can Asha Sharma do for you that would make you happy? Randy, we didn't talk too many other small details, so that actually works out because obviously we're 2 hours and 10 minutes pretty much. So next week's episode, I don't know what the main topic is. We'll figure that out. I want the ending top 5 to be the top 5 things that we want Xbox to bring back. And I say things by like, I want this dormant franchise brought back. I want this feature brought back. I want this.
Oh, I got one for a feature. I know. I already know one off the top of my head.
Hell yeah. Just to keep it in the same discussion, like I said, like I texted you earlier this week and being like, we could totally do that on this episode. But then we were both like, well, we're probably going to hit most of those during the main discussion anyway. It would be
I think our argument against it was that we might hit some of them, but we're going to hit 2 hours before we even get to.
That's so true, and we both will have the same number 1. So
yeah,
easily.
Maybe I'll drop it down 1 or 2 just to be a little different.
Well, hold on a minute. Don't devalue it. Hold on.
That's fair. All right.
Yeah. So we'll do that next week. Everyone, thank you for listening. Like I said, comment, like, subscribe. Maybe not in that order. And
tell us
let
us
us know.
Suck.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want to hear. Any other topics? Let us know what you want out of Xbox and what they can start to do that makes you have more hope in what they'll be doing in the future. Randy, we're never going to have an ending.
Nope.